Welcome to TWitWoW, the best podcast on the internet today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is Weekly Recap. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. I genuinely think this is one of the wildest episodes in recent memory that we've had because between wrestling and politics, holy crap, is there a lot to cover here. Let's just talk about more news outside of the kayfabe product. One piece of good news, or interesting news at the very least, and then, of course, negative news. So let's not bury the lead of the negative news because everybody's talking about that. The WWE releases, it's spring cleaning again. I'm going to be honest, I actually forgot that they did this. I wasn't expecting this. They got me again. I'm like, wow, this tidal wave of releases. I think Ashton Wrestling Discussion, you or somebody posted a full list. I would like to
Yeah,
pull that up just so that we don't have to try and guess for 20 minutes like every name on there. I know the most
I
notable
have
name
it.
that I want to talk about first.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm
I
looking right at it
posted it.
myself.
I have it pulled up. I'm ready if you are.
Yeah. So they released the entire Wyatt 6 faction, which is just wild to me that they released all of them. So Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Loomis. Really a shame about Loomis because I still like that guy, and of course Bo Dallas is just wonderful. Alba Fire, Zoe Stark, Andre Chase. I wish they would have given him a chance at the main event. They kind of teased it that one time before he lost to Rich Holland, which broke up Chase U. Again, we'll get more into these picks in a little bit. I just want to give the rundown first, so I should get out of my own way. Dante Chen, Eddie Sane. That's going to be a big one to talk about. Apollo Cruz, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, Santos Escobar, Motor City Machine Guns, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Igwe. So Tyson and Tyreek. Chris Island, Tyra May Steele, Serena Linton, Trill London, Malik Blade, and Luca Crucifino. Some really interesting releases here, man. I mean, obviously, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kyrie, I think, far and away, is the biggest one because she
Yeah,
was involved in what was becoming a pretty intense story, which could have had a very worthwhile emotional payoff. With Io standing up on Kyrie's behalf and Asuka becoming more just verbally abusive and controlling, and
yeah,
Kyrie just feeling too weak to stand up to Asuka and her and Io's friendship, but of course, damage control, they kind of, turned on Io. There were so many moving parts there. And then you just cut Kylie and it's like in the middle of a story. Like it's bad enough that you cut her in my mind, period. But the idea that you don't even let the story conclude before the cut, that is foul to
yeah.
me.
Yep.
So what are your initial thoughts, man? I'd like to bring you in on this finally. What you're thinking, and we'll just start with Kylie and I guess work from there.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's genuinely disgusting to me that the the idea that all of these people really, I think the most egregious thing is when somebody feels like they might have job security and then it gets ripped away from them. Because, like you said, Kairi is literally in the middle of the storyline with Asuka and Io. Kairi has been Kairi literally just beat Io in the middle of the ring in a one-on-one match in what I believe was even the main event of Raw like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now they terminate her contract, and I guess they're still probably going to want to do Io versus Asuka, but they're going to write Kairi out of the story entirely, even though she was the center of the story in the first place. I like this. This is, I think, what grosses me out about it so much is that it highlights something that we've already known for a long time, but it really just brings to the forefront how just creatively bankrupt WWE is, and that first, second, and third foremost, it is a business, it is a capitalist corporation run by capitalists with the sole intent of maximizing profit for the investors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I can't say, and I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that I'm still the insane Kairi Sane fan I was when she first came to WWE. But like the thing is, I really do look at Kairi in a similar vein, and again, this is just my opinion, as an R truth in the sense that like it's fucking Kyrie. Like she's so wholesome and just
Yeah.
so good, just like he is. And it's like that's a morale hit to the locker room, you know. And that's like
Hmm.
it just it hurts on a deeper level because it's Kyrie. And then when you look at these other picks, because I think you already said it perfectly about why it's so screwed up, you know, just on the wrestling side and everything she was involved in, everything else. I'm not going to belabor that point. Um, you know, a lot of people have their opinions on Alba Fire, you know, formerly known as Kaylee Ray, who's probably going to go back to
That
that
is what
now.
she is going by again. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's an easy pickup for AEW or even TNA potentially. I was always met on her, you know, not trying to be disrespectful to any of these releases. It's just, you know, my opinion. But who knows? Maybe she could set the world on fire now. Zoe Stark, same thing. Never really felt much. I actually liked where your head was at, where it's like AEW could pick her up just like they did Tekla. Um,
Yeah.
Andre
I
Chase, you
said
know,
that about Zoe Stark.
yeah, I said that. I said I
Oh,
went
okay.
to
I
Zoe Stark, and
I
then I'm
must
like,
have
I
zoned
agree
out.
with
I
you.
didn't realize that we moved on from Kaylee Ray to Zoe
Yeah,
Stark.
no, no, no. I said Zoe Stark, and yeah, I said I liked what you said
Yeah.
when you like kind of lumped that with Tekla.
Frankly, I think they're both AEW bound. Honestly, I think Kaylee Ray is going to be someone that gets over really like gangbusters in AEW because I think she kind of fits almost like female Darby Allin vibes, and Darby's literally their world champion right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh Andre Chase is a weird one for me, man, because I like this dude. I like the gimmick. I know a lot of people, you know, I was reading on ODQ when I first read these reports like, that they were like, oh, this was just an NXT gimmick, like it was never going to work on the main roster, whatever. I don't know how I feel about that. I will say, and I'm curious what Foster will think, because, you know, Foster is in the chat. Welcome, Foster. My personal opinion, I felt like rebooting Chase U was a mistake. It just didn't seem to have the same feel as the original Chase U. Like once you killed it, I think we all just kind of emotionally made peace with that and moved on. And then trying to recourse back to that, it's like, you know, for me, it just didn't hit. I do think there were some missed opportunities, some missed stories. The idea that Duke Hudson, you know, never turned on him or whatever is just kind of interesting to me. That they were pretty much used to try and get Ridge Holland over, who would eventually be released anyway. It's like, damn, you know. I still feel like I would have been interested to see, even very briefly, an Andre Chase like main event run, him trying to go in earnest for the NXT title as kind of like a final lesson to his students to like chase your dreams or whatever. And maybe the students are like, well, what about you, Mr. Chase? Like, you've never even gone after the NXT championship. And then we do that whole thing because I feel like he would have gotten the fanfare. I mean, crowds definitely liked him. Do I think it would have worked on the main roster? I'm ambivalent on that. I think, you know, you never know until you try it, right? But I felt like there was upside to him. I'm curious what he's going to do now. I thought I heard somewhere, but it's probably just a rumor that he was going to do wrestling seminars, which is very meta, given, you know, the whole Andre Chase thing, you know, the Chase U school and everything. But I liked him. I don't know. Any thoughts on Andre Chase here before we move on to Dante Chen? Just kind of giving
I
our
like
overall thoughts on
Andre.
this
I
release.
think he is a really cool sort of character for this performer. I think this performer really kind of nailed it here. But I also think that this is a performer who has nailed a completely different type of character in the past when he was one half of the Bravado brothers back in Ring of Honor, Harlem
Yeah.
Bravado. So that just tells me that this dude is very likely to land on his feet because he is adaptable. And I think adaptability is like the singular number one trait that a pro wrestler can have that tells me that they're going to be all right in the long run. It's just like you were mentioning at the very beginning. It's a real shame that he never got an opportunity to even attempt to connect with main roster fans. I think that sucks.
This one might be a bit controversial
Like,
on my
I
side.
apologize
Yeah.
for
Oh,
holding you up, but like to
no. Yeah.
me, if a guy like Danhausen can get over on the main roster, there's no reason whatsoever that Andre Chase couldn't get over on the main roster.
You know what? Absolutely. I agree with that actually, because you know how I feel about Danhausen as well. But I feel like this one on my side of the table is going to be controversial because I never got Dante Chen. I never hated the guy, but like I never really saw anything beyond he's that hand that like is good, like that enhancement talent for debuting talent or talent that you want to get over as like dominant or whatever. I never really connected with Dante on a deeper level. I feel like you like Dante more than I did though. So how did you feel about
Yeah,
this
well,
release?
I think the main thing with Dante is just he's very likable. He's a very endearing and charming personality. Um, he's somebody that's easy to root for, and that is not something that you find very commonly in pro wrestling. Um, so you take a guy who's really endearing and charming and easy to root for and like, a natural babyface, obviously, somebody that you can kind of throw out there as a sacrificial lamb for a heel to beat up on and get over and get some heat immediately. That's obvious creative decision in my mind. But also that makes it suck that much more when they get cut, knowing that they seem like such a sweet person and a decent human being in the first place. It's like, well, shit, you made me like you, and now you got fired, and now I feel even worse for you because I wanted you to succeed. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. We already talked about Kylie. Although with Kylie, just to circle back to that real quick, what do we think she does next? Do we think she just
Dude,
retires? Do we
I'm
think
not
Stardom
willing to
want to go?
commit to anything on her because I think there's going to be some fallout similar to our truth. I think we want Kylie Chance on Monday, and there might be some hijacking of shows for her, and we might.
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing because I'm already seeing like wrestling groups like on Facebook and stuff call for that,
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, if I'm seeing this here, I wonder who else has got similar ideas. So
I've
you're
seen
right. Let's
several
take.
posts on pro wrestling subreddits as well. Like it's. And the thing is, I don't think I saw that for our truth. So the fact that it's big enough that it's found me this time, and it never did with truth, but it like obviously it was big enough with truth that it found its way to the live crowds, and makes it that much more likely that it's going to find its way to the live crowds this time as well.
Yeah, you know what? So we'll put a pin in that for now. Apollo Crews,
I didn't even
man.
like, if it wasn't for his recent backstage interactions that he's been having with like Cardona, I would have not known that he was still around.
You're absolutely right about that, and I agree. I will say though, I'm happy for him in this case that he got released because I do think he's a solid performer, and I think that kind of Nigerian royalty gimmick shows that he can have a personality, even if it's one written for him, like he can execute. I hope he keeps digging in himself and showing us what he's got. And I'll never forget that fucking unused NXT theme, that Stay Ready. That's how I first really learned about Apollo and this and that. I mean, the dude, yeah. Like, I've always kind of vibed with Apollo Crews and thought there was more there. And we'll see, though, because he's been there a long time. And I don't really know what he's looking at for his career next. The next really interesting set here, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. There are some AEW fans, I'm not going to lie, that kind of reveled in Aleister Black getting released because apparently, and again, just rumors, speculation, but it was said that Aleister Black never really wanted to directly be pinned. Like, I guess he was very protective of his gimmick or whatever. And
Well,
AEW fans
he's
thought, like, oh,
and
you,
you know what
yeah,
though? I also think that a lot of that is like shit stirring by Meltzer, because Meltzer was reporting pretty often around that time that guys like Aleister Black and like Miro and like Buddy Matthews saw themselves as like, well, I'm a WWE superstar. I can't be getting pinned by these guys that have never even made it to the biggest stage. So like Meltzer kind of pushing that narrative combined with some things that did happen on AEW TV, and then like yeah, they go back to WWE and end up getting treated exactly the same way that they were getting during the Vince regime, only for right now it's Aleister Black getting cut. I think a lot of AEW fans view it as Black having burned his bridge with AEW. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if he wants to go back to AEW, Tony Khan would be more than happy to have him. But that might not even matter because it seems like a lot of AEW roster members don't want him back. I saw, I mean, from what I understand, Max Caster tweets shit about not wanting them back about a lot of WWE cuts, but apparently
yeah.
even MJF reposted the "We don't want him back" Max Caster tweet this time. So maybe there is some genuine heat between the AEW locker room and Aleister Black, or at least between certain people in the AEW locker room and Aleister Black. Maybe it's just the Maxes. Maybe that is like the tip of the iceberg. I don't know.
You know what? I've always liked Alistair, man, and you know that. For me, I look at it as, and I know, right? I'm the typical
Dude,
IWC fan.
fuck
Yeah,
AEW. If Lucha Underground's coming back, please let him go there.
Oh, we're going to talk about that new dude. The wrestling news side before we even get into the kayfabe product of what we, usually cover. Insane this week because there's even some. Actually, I need to ask. You know about the Marta Gold news, right?
Yeah,
Because I don't. Okay. So we could talk about that because I don't know if you have that
the
muted or
the
whatever. I
the, the
just wanted to check
leaving
in.
the leaving news, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we got so much to talk about today, y'all. But no, dude, I agree with you on that. We'll get more into that a bit later. But you know that I've always liked Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Um, and again, classic John meme here on TwitWow. I run my mouth so much because I was on here like, oh, he's a license to print money. He's such a great gimmick, and I am gonna be that arrogant IWC prick that thinks he knows more than the company. I don't think they ever got Aleister Black. That's just my opinion. I don't think they ever really understood it. I think it was so simple and
You know
straightforward.
what's
I
so
think the
fucked
most
up
of us
though
understood.
is I think Triple H did when he was in NXT, and then
Yes.
Vince didn't on the main roster. And now it's like Triple H has just absorbed the Vince bullshit, and he doesn't get him anymore, even though he obviously got him in NXT because he was great in NXT.
Yeah. Yeah. If you just would have done the NXT template, maybe he still would have burned out. Maybe we still would have ended up here, but I feel like we would have gotten so much more mileage. I mean, the idea that this dude didn't win a single title, wasn't a part of any major feud. He did get a big win over Randy Orton, but that was followed up with like nothing.
Dude,
It's just such a weird run.
I don't
Such a
know what's
weird run this
weirder to
time.
me, the fact that he was feuding with Randy Orton and that there was actually a plan for them to have a WrestleMania match, and that just got completely derailed by whoever's decision it was to fast track the Orton Cody story for Mania, or the fact that Malachi or Aleister Black basically was given the Karrion Cross character after Cross got fired.
I'm telling you, between the booking of like this past WrestleMania for the most part, now these releases, you're really seeing in real time the enshittification of WWE.
Yeah,
It's really crazy to me. And then
yeah.
of course Zelina Vega. I mean, I don't want to leave her hanging. Total sweetheart. I actually felt like I was happy for her when she won the women's US title. Seemed like she was really connecting as a babyface, and that's why I hated that they were gonna do. And again, I love Alistair and Zelina both, but let's call it what it is. Again, it was a Karrion Cross and Scarlett ripoff type thing. I hated that they did that in hindsight because Zelina was really connecting as a babyface. And I love her as a heel too, but the thing is, I love her as a heel manager. I think as a wrestler, I actually prefer her as a babyface. Um, yeah, I think this release also disappointed me because I don't think they ever really got Alistair. And Zelina, I think, had more mileage. To give as a babyface, I think an underdog title win one day would have gotten a huge pop from a crowd. But now, it's whatever. Here's a release I'm actually happy about because they just were never doing anything with this guy, Santos Escobar.
Another
If
potential addition to the new Lucha Underground roster. If that's really got wheels, like hell yeah, bring back King Cuerno.
dude, I am telling you, this dude is a fucking stud still. And look, I knew he was never going to be a world champion in
Yeah.
WWE, but I'll be honest, he could have been an Intercontinental champion. He could have been a
He
United
could have
States
been the
champion. Yeah.
type of Intercontinental champion that made that title feel like a world title, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, not to be that guy, but I haven't done this bit in a minute. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that dude is a walking thirst trap, and he can work, and he can cut great promos. I thank
I think
Santos
that the
in this
main
run.
reason that they were kind of over him and ready to be done with him is just his age, because he is like 40 something by now. Actually, I just looked it up. He's going to be 42 in less than a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I don't know what he wants to do with his career. I mean, some people speculated he might go to CMLL. But
I
I
mean,
mean,
he could
man,
go to CMLL. CMLL is kind of hot right now. But I just with the Lucha Underground thing coming back, I think that that's an obvious landing spot. He's already been there. He's already done that. He never won the world title there. That's what do you do right there.
yeah, yeah. I love Santos. I wish him the best. I thank him for one of the best Rey Mysterio portrayals I ever got to witness. I mean, he crushed that spine and those balls, and just amazing,
Wait,
amazing.
crushed
Thank you,
spine and
Santos.
balls. What's this about?
Well, when Santos betrayed Ray, LWO breakup, he drove his back into the ring post, and like then Ray fell into the steel
Oh,
steps like with his legs split. And I should go back and watch it actually, thinking back on it, because it popped me so hard. So
But
thank you, Santos. Thank you for everything.
yeah.
Um, this one, Alex, this one, Foster said really hurt him. Motor City Machine Guns. Um,
God, how weird was that, right? Because like they brought them in to feed into the SmackDown tag division when they were kind of trying to get that off the ground with DIY and Street Profits and who else was there at the time? Oh, they eventually ended up bringing in Fraxium. There was another team there at the time though, I thought, but I forget. Um,
yeah, I'm not sure.
oh, Pretty Deadly,
Yeah, Pretty Deadly. Okay.
and then eventually like everything started slowly kind of getting stripped away from that. Like at one point, I think honestly, I know Elton Prince's injury probably hurt that, and then from what I remember timeline wise, fucking the Wyatt Six cleaning house and just wiping out the entire division and going after the titles happened before anyone got cut or anyone else got injured after that. And then Champa got cut. And this was all during a time that the Street Profits were being highly underutilized despite the fact that they were champions at the time when the Wyatt Six did that weird attack when they made their first return.
Yes.
And then Street Profits lose the titles to the Wyatts, disappear from without a trace. And then for some reason the Wyatts get into a feud with the freaking MFTs. But in the meantime, like the tag division that they had been building up completely just like goes away. We just don't have a real tag division on SmackDown again, and it's been less than a year since they really built that up. Um, and now, yeah, like this is kind of the inevitable fallout. Is like if you brought them in to sort of um, just kind of be like a tangential piece to a strong tag division, and then you deprioritize the tag division, it only makes sense that you wouldn't want these guys around anymore. It's like, you've changed your priorities. They were only here because you prioritized the tag division. Now you're not anymore, so why would you keep them around?
Yeah, and I gotta say too, this is a weird one because I don't know. Foster could probably fill in some gaps for me. But the last time I checked in on the guns, and really just the product in general, because I pretty much do like YouTube sweeps anymore. Um, there was like weird tension between Chris and Alex because Alex had been so concerned about Johnny Gargano with the whole story of like he's fallen and he can't get up and he's just kind of laying there. And Chris is like, are you still focused on the guns, whatever? And Chris seemed like pretty, aggressive in that district. Like, are you still focused on the guns? So I was wondering if the guns were about to go heel or maybe even break up.
Yeah.
So they also were kind of having a story, and now they're released. I'm telling you, man, like TKO does not give a fuck about professional wrestling, like as an art form, as a presentation. Again, like you said at the very start of this segment, it's really just about maximizing profits, for shareholders and like what's going to improve the bottom line, such as the way of capitalism. Capitalism doesn't care about art or beauty or conclusions or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's like what's going to make us money. Continuing with tag teams, but I'm actually excited about this release as well because I hope these guys stick together and do something cool. Tyson and Tyreek. Man, I'm gonna put my money on these guys and say WWE really missed the fucking boat with these guys. They really did. I feel like that, much like Aleister Black, wildly mishandled. I loved when they came in. I loved that these were black men who, again, we've always been very honest on this show and we talk about pro wrestling holistically. We know America is not only a white supremacist society, but black men in particular really get stigmatized as being thuggish or animalistic or this or that or hypersexualized or whatever. These were two wholesome fucking guys that were powerful and could definitely beat your ass, but like one was training to be a doctor, another one was like a community leader. It was beautiful shit. And they're not really, getting any wins. They're booked, very like haphazardly. Then you pair them with Wesley, who's also a heel for some fucking reason. And you think, okay, cool, I can do with factions, but Take it from Dark State. You got to book people strongly if you want people to care. And yeah, I just feel like the whole thing went off the rails so quick. I was telling you last night during games, talking about Tyson and Tyreek. I would love if like an ECW style promotion or some territory that wasn't quite as big as WWE or AEW was around so that they could really spit fire, not worry about regulations or red tape or any of this shit, because I feel like there is an angry promo in these guys that I want to hear, and I want to really see them tear the tag scene up.
See, and I'm
Again,
gonna just apologize ahead of time if this is starting to get annoying. But also, anything that gives me hope in pro wrestling, I think is worth hanging on to. Lucha
yeah,
Underground could be exactly that.
yeah. Oh, dude, 100%. And believe me, it's not getting annoying because we are going to talk about that. And so, in my mind, you're just laying the groundwork. And I agree. Like, dude, I'm telling you, they missed the boat on these guys. And I believe in them. And I know they're not going to listen to this. I don't even know if any fucking wrestlers listen to this. I highly fucking doubt it. But I believe in these guys, man. I think they're a great fucking tag team. I love their look. I love their story. If they want to reboot and go back to square one and be like, we're just two guys that love wrestling and we're here to set a positive example, honestly, I think there's a place for that today with how fucking disgusting this country is, towards non-white people. But if they want to just, have a chip on their shoulder and be like, you know what, we're better than how we were treated and we're going to take it out on everybody, I'm here for that too. Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's fucking do it. I have no opinion on Chris Island. Do you have any idea who this guy even was?
No. I said no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that didn't come through. It was silent. So you said no, you don't know. So Chris Island, I mean, it's a shame anybody gets released, but I'm not, yeah, we don't have anything to say. Tyra May Steele, man, again, I'm a bit surprised by this one. I actually want you to go first on this. What are your thoughts on it? If you have any to even give. If you
Bro,
don't, that's fine.
this
I just
is
know I've been
insane
talking a
to
lot here.
me. It's insane to me that, like, she. It feels genuinely, it felt like she was sabotaged from the start because they immediately kick her off by sending her to Evolve. They put her in the world title storyline. She's really good in that situation. She does a great job. She looks good in the ring. She's not amazing on the mic, but her promos are sort of easy to get behind. Like, they're not anything revolutionary by any means, but she makes it easy to get behind her. She doesn't like botch or make anything horrible mistakes, anything like that. And then she gets shoved into this whole program where she and Tavion are feuding with Ethan and Chelsea. And like, she and Tavion are representing the USA during a time when people fucking hate this country, going against Chelsea and Ethan, who are representing Canada. And if I correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the PLE that they had that match literally in Canada?
I believe it was, yes.
So like,
Actually, no. Actually, no. I don't think it was because I think it was people like in an American like town. Because I know Ethan grabbed the mic at one point and said, "This isn't going to get you citizenship," because they're kind of playing on the fact that people probably want to leave the country because I mean, you know what's happening. So no, I don't think it was in Canada. I think I'm wrong about that. Because yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
it was NXT
Yeah,
Heatwave 2025. Okay, so it was in Lowell, Massachusetts.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Again, though, Massachusetts is a relatively liberal state. It's a left leaning state, and it's pretty damn close to Canada. It's a hell of a lot closer to Canada than it is to the Bible Belt.
yes,
And so, like, yeah, it feels like the baby face, quote unquote baby face team here, the US representing team here, was sabotaged from the get-go because they are representing a country that people don't like, that people are actively booing, that people like. This was during a time that people were actively booing at sporting events when people were singing like America the Beautiful or the national anthem
yeah.
because it's a country that is like actively undergoing an exposure of how fascist they are, really. Um, but so like, I don't think that Tyra has done much since then. I don't think that we've really seen anything of Tyra since that match, have we?
She did like a brief thing in Evolve, I think, unless the Evolve thing came beforehand. But then again, if it did come beforehand, because I'm trying to think about the chronology here, maybe not. And like,
So
yeah, that's really a
I'm
shame.
looking here, and it's saying here that she has evolved, or she's evolved. She's wrestled 19 matches since that mixed tag match, and of those 19 matches, I am seeing two. Yeah, two of which were on NXT television, and then yeah, she did have a thing in Evolve earlier this year that kind of looks like got started. No, it just was this year.
Hmm.
Started in January. She beat Carly Bright, and then beat Zena Sterling, and then got a shot at Kendall for the Evolve title. Lost that in 11 minutes, and then had a shot at the vacant Evolve title, women's title, and Wendy Chu won that more recently. So I guess Wendy Chu is the current Evolve Women's Champion. Um,
Yeah. Which, by the way, congratulations to her. I was happy reading that. That's
yeah,
really
that
cool
is
for
really cool.
Wendy.
But yeah, Tyra May, it's like you have a literal Olympic gold medalist, the first ever female Olympic gold medalist in wrestling on your roster, and you basically sabotage her and boot her. It's like I apologize immediately just because I know that this is going to make some people roll their eyes, but I really don't give a fuck. Um, if she was white, she would not have gotten fired this quickly. There's no shot.
You know what? I'm inclined to believe that because you know what I was thinking while we're thinking about this? Like, Kurt Angle really was a perfect storm, man. Like, just
Well, and
on
the thing is,
everything.
Tyra, I say Tamira because that's her real name. Tamira Mensah Stock is the woman's real name. Tyra, though, she could have been a perfect storm too if they wouldn't have sabotaged her from the fucking get go. If
Yeah.
she would have been booked similarly perfectly to the way that Kurt Angle was booked, maybe she doesn't have like the acting chops that Kurt had. But even then, like Kurt's whole gimmick was that he was like this like goofball, like overly arrogant Olympic gold medalist who bragged a little too much, and that's why people hated him so much. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have wanted to go there with Tyra, but still, like, it just feels like they never really gave her a real shot. And even if you could argue that they gave her a real shot, they gave up on her way too quickly. This woman is an Olympic gold medalist. Like, you have an
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist on your roster, and it's not just any. Like, okay, you're an Olympic gold medalist in pole vaulting. Who gives a shit at wrestling? No, she's an Olympic gold medalist at wrestling, and you just give up on her. And that's the thing too. Is like, as far as we're aware, she doesn't have any like backstage issues the way that the last dude did. I forget his name already. The guy from Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but apparently, like he was struggling to pick up on it. Plus, he had the fucking allegations going in. He was apparently really arrogant and kind of had like a sense of entitlement to him. I don't think anyone ever picked up that or anything remotely close to that from Tyra.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, not that
like,
I'm aware of.
was she making so much money that you couldn't afford to just keep her around for another year or two and give her a real shot at failing before you fired her? Jesus Christ.
Relative to the money that WWE itself is making as an entity, like so many of these cuts felt so unnecessary. Um, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Serena Linton, I don't know if that's another LFG competitor. Yeah, I have no idea. I have nothing to say here, nor do I have anything to say about Trill London. Um, Malik Blade is an interesting one because um I liked him when he was with Idris. I was trying to remember the tag. It was Idris and Nofe. Um, but yeah, I'm curious if like because I think Idris has not been released, so he's still with the company. So I'm curious, if they'll ever reunite or if Malik's just gonna go and be a singles guy, like on whatever independents are fucking left, or maybe he'll get something with AEW. I don't know. Maybe he's done wrestling. I don't know. But I don't know. For me, I think back to when he was in that team with Inoue, and I felt like they were starting to pick up steam a little bit, and then they just, the injury, and then, evolve with Idris and everything else. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel like that tag team had promised and never really got fulfilled. Anything to say about Malik Blade before we just talk about the final release in Luca Crucifino, which I also probably won't
No,
take very long.
no, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, Luca Crucifino was with the family, Tony D'Angelo's little faction. He did a little bit of stuff with Evolve. I don't know. If he likes wrestling, I think there'll always be an opportunity for him to wrestle. I do think he has a decent look. He didn't really connect with me individually on anything, but yeah, who knows what the future holds for guys like him. And that's essentially the releases. Again, Kyrie is just. I'm very curious what the aftermath of that is going to be. I'm guessing, like you said, some hijack shows, and we'll see what happens from
I
there.
think that the ones
Um,
that people are the most upset about by far are Kaidi, Alistair and Zelina, and the Wyatt Six. Because the
yeah,
Wyatt Six is like a whole ass tribute act to Bray, aka Wyndham, and
yeah,
they were literally just like a debut, and then immediately WWE dropped the ball with them pretty much immediately after they debuted. And like
yes,
they were off TV for so long, and then they return to go after tag titles, and I was immediately angry with that. I was so fucking pissed when they did that,
yeah.
and it just felt like there was no creative vision for that group whatsoever.
Yeah, and I really don't know what the future's going to hold for them as individuals. Like, Dexter Loomis maybe goes to TNA because I know he was in TNA like a long while back.
Honestly, dude,
Um,
I could see a world where that entire group, all 5 members, go to AEW and stay a group with a new name and stay a Wyndham tribute act because AEW does tributes better than just about any other wrestling company throughout the history of the sport, of the business, whatever you want to call it. Like the way that they handled Sting, the way that they handled Brody Lee, I could see them doing some pretty amazing things in tribute for Wyndham, even though he was never even on their roster.
yeah, you know what? I think that's an excellent point, and I think if they keep it around long enough, depending on how the chips play out, maybe you could even do like something with them. And I don't even know if Dark Order's still a thing, but I know Brody's son, -1.
I don't
I
think
don't know how
they
old he
are.
would be now. You don't think that they are? I don't know how old -1 is
Probably about
now. I think
10.
he should be like a teenager or something. But again, just thinking about how AEW thinks, I'm just saying I wonder if there could be like any crossover potential because obviously Brody and Bray really loved each other and there was very deep, brotherhood and friendship. So yeah, I like
14,
where
by the
your
way,
head's at.
14, Brody Lee Jr.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, I like where your head's at. I think yeah, that's very possible. So that's the releases. So let's talk about since you kind of laid the groundwork, this LU reboot.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna be honest, man. Part of me, I did get the tingly seeing it, but I'm really holding off until we see more.
I
Getting
know,
overly
right?
excited or
It's
anything.
like I don't want to be hurt. I want to keep my guard up, but it's really hard for me to just not let myself get a little excited about this because this is like my favorite thing in wrestling ever, and they're threatening to bring it back, and that's the same thing as threatening me with a good time.
Yeah, one of us should probably reach out to Chris Road and be like, yo, what the fuck is going on with it? Like, what's going on? Um, yeah, I am very curious what they're gonna do. I will say too, I saw Willie Mack post a teaser photo of him holding up 1/3 of the trios titles.
Yeah.
I guess with guys that he won it with. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think El Dragon Azteca Jr. might have been one of the partners, but I really couldn't remember the third for the life of me. So Mac or the Mac could be thinking about like, oh, I could do this because apparently he's been upset because he's under contract to the AEW, but AEW just hasn't used him. Now listen, I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest Willie Mack fan, but I know that dude can go. I loved him in Lucha Underground. I also thought he had one of the sickest themes in the company. And like, he's a cool dude. He's got cool fucking vibes. How you could just leave him on the vine, I think is mad disrespectful personally. So if he would want to go to LU, great. I don't know if Johnny would have any interest. I don't know if Taya would have any interest. Cage, I think, I'd be curious if he would want to come back. So really, essentially, what I'm getting at is, I wonder how many Lucha Underground originals would want to come back and do their thing. Um, I would hope that you could reboot Prince Puma, but put somebody else under the mask. We don't need Rico bitch, back in there. He'd probably bitch about
Rico.
being in that company anyway.
Yeah.
So I yeah, I just very curious about this. Very, very curious about this. Are we gonna have Dario Cueto again? You know, because Luis Fernandez Gil, just amazing fucking actor for Dario Cueto. So I hope he's along for the ride on this. That would be very, very cool. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Definitely keeping my finger on the pulse of that. And like you said, some of these releases, that could be a brand new home for them. So we'll try and keep you guys posted on that because one of TWitWoW's crowning achievements, thanks to my core and commentary here, is we were one of the premier channels to talk about Lucha Underground, one of the earliest to do it. In fact, I think the earliest. And so yeah, it definitely holds a special place in our hearts. We fucking love Lucha Underground. So hopefully this is something good. And then finally on the wrestling news front, at least what I came packing with. Utami Hayashishita is fucking leaving Marigold. Dude, I saw this last night after the releases, and I laughed. I laughed as my first reaction because I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Especially because a little bit of inside baseball here on my personal life, guys. I'm currently doing redetermination for my health benefits and my food stamps because the government's fucking awful, and they're like, oh, why do you have Japanese currency on your PayPal statements? I had to submit to them proof that I have a Stardom and a Wrestling Universe account, and the thing is, my Stardom account username is Utami Simp. And now she's left Marigold, and I'm thinking, are you really about to come back to Stardom and make that username relevant again? Are you fucking the universe is just hilarious to me. On one hand, I was disappointed to find this out, not even for the reasons you think, but because I did want to go into that world title match with a little bit of doubt, oh, maybe Miko Aono is losing. I still want to see that match when it goes up, as Utami's, in my mind, emotionally, her farewell Marigold match, even though she's not leaving yet. But yeah, let's talk about it, man. I'm honestly surprised again, but I'll tell you, her motivations are interesting because it makes me wonder if Rossi or somebody internally at Marigold was like, hey, we want to rein you in a little bit. We want you to oversee the juniors. And from what I'm gathering, Utami had no problem being a veteran to juniors, but she still feels like she has a lot to give to the business. She still wants that run where she's flexing and she's like, I'm the shit, and I do love that confidence. Where do we go from here? Because to me, my mind is thinking, could we really see an Utami Kamitani reunion in the form of let's beat the shit out of each other for the World of Stardom title, provided Kamitani can even retain against Kurara? Or does Utami go to WWE, which I'm going to be honest, never more in history have I thought that would be a terrible fucking idea.
Dude, that
because
was
I hate
honestly
fucking
my
TK.
first reaction when I saw that she was leaving. I was like, there's no way that she's just going to go back to Stardom. This is her graduating to WWE. She's going to go to NXT. That was my
God,
first
yeah.
thought when I saw that she was leaving Marigold.
Dude, it's so conflicting for me because Utami is in the spot now that Kairi was then. I adore that woman. And I'm going to be honest, maybe it's selfish, but again, like Ashton said, if we offend anybody, whatever, but we are going to be honest, it is our podcast. I don't want her to do it. I don't want her to do it. I think the WWE culture is worse than it's ever been right now. And I don't think they would know what they have in her.
You're right. I don't disagree with you, but it's also worth noting that I don't know if Utami is really aware of the nuances of the WWE's culture or, even the nuances of the culture of the United States of America, quite frankly. I think that she just maybe grew up being aware of and maybe even being a fan of WWE and its product, and maybe she just wants to try and achieve the things that Io and Asuka have achieved and reach that level of visibility in the pro wrestling business.
Okay, I hear you, right? This is not about you. This is not me debating you. I want to be very careful what I say here because I know inevitably I'm going to sound like a dick. But so I'm just going to be blunt with it. I don't know if she can. I'm intrigued to find out. And I think the best thing about her going to America, just to really cover my bases here, because I know I'm the asshole, I think the biggest benefit would be I've wanted to hear her talk more. And that's the thing about American wrestling culture is promos matter a lot more there, I think, than in Japan. Or maybe they do matter, and it's just because we don't get subtitles that like I have that impression. That's also a possibility, just to
Yeah.
be clear. But like I feel like promos do get emphasized more in America. I want to see Utami talk because the one thing I hate about people that criticize Utami is like she's not emotional. When like again that Queen's Quest almost breaking up, but then Utami and Saya realize they love each other so much is one of my favorite stories fucking ever. And you see so much emotion from Utami in that, and such great character growth, like on a human level in that. I'd love to see her do that in America, but one, I have to be honest about how good Io is and how good Asuka is. I don't know, and how adaptable they were to America. I don't know if Utami is on that level. Just keeping it real. I've never liked love that is blind ever. You know, I've never liked uncritical love. I've got to be honest. I don't know. I'd love for Utami to prove me wrong, but more importantly, even if she could, I don't know if she's going to get the sufficient opportunity to. Like I hate this culture right now. I hate this company right now with a passion. Um so yeah, like if Utami's gonna do it, obviously I'm gonna support her with my whole being and everything else. But I really, and again, I am selfish. I'm not gonna lie about that. I want to see her and Kamitani back together. Nothing would make me more thrilled, even as opponents. Nothing would make me more thrilled. But if Utami is set on, I'm gonna bet on me. I'm gonna go to America. I, okay. I just hope it's not another Saudi situation. But then again, maybe
You know
if it
what
is,
though,
maybe
dude?
even
With
that's not so
Suri, I
bad.
think neither one of us really understood why WWE would go after Suri. We never really felt like she would translate there. I don't feel that way about Utami.
I don't either in a way. In a way, I do think she would do better than Sari, but again, when we're talking about like the big success stories and Asuka and Io, that's where I'm a bit more. Again, just being honest, that's where I struggle a bit more.
I think Utami
But
is a
yeah,
very different animal from any other Joshi that WWE has had in their like contemporary history. I think she is more similar going back to the 90s to like a Bull Nakano than any of their more recent Joshis.
I will tell you something right now. First of all, let me just acknowledge what you said. I really like that parallel, and I can see where you're coming from. For me, I'll just leave it at this. If she is actually gonna fucking go for it, Godspeed to you. I will back her up, and I will say this, and you know that this is big because how many talents have I said that I love, and then when they leave my peripheral vision, I'm like, oh well. If she goes WWE, I will make a concerted effort at the very least to watch her segments with full context again. Because normally, again, I settle for YouTube, but sometimes you even lose context with the YouTube clips. I want to see the entirety of her segments, how the crowd was reacting, how she reacted to certain things, you know, whatever, all of it, all of it. I think her being on there would really force me at the very least to watch her segments in full, and I do that for so few people, just because I'm so worn out with pro wrestling and the toxic culture and everything else. We need a fucking union. We need capitalism out of our fucking lives primarily, but that is a tall, tall, tall fucking order. Yeah, I don't know. Like Utami Hayashishita, WWE Undisputed Women's Champion, does give me the tinglies. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Like I see her with that title, the WWE Women's Championship that Rhea has specifically, because I fucking love that one. I see her with that title. I pop a little bit, you know. We'll
I would
see.
maybe suggest lowering your expectation. What about like Utami Hayashishita, NXT North American Women's Champion, at least for now?
At least, you know, I'm just saying, like, because here's the thing: if she's gonna go for it, and again, Utami's whole reason for leaving Monagold is she still feels like she could be a bigger star, right? And like, so she might have some more ambitions. Of course, one step at a fucking time. Obviously, we're not stupid, but you know, you do think like it's part of the journey. It's just getting excited and thinking what could happen. But at the same time, this is an era of TKO. This is an era of a corporation that doesn't get pro wrestling. It's just a business to them. It's just something to extract value and money. And that's why I think it is the worst time. Really, I would have loved an alternate universe where Utami came in during the NXT Black and Gold era, because that would have been very interesting to me. But who knows? Maybe she's coming at the right time for Utami. I just thought it was huge news. I can't believe Marta Gold is suffering another bit, in my mind, big departure because Mirai shocked the hell out of me too.
Yeah.
I know Mayu's a fucking legend, but she can only do so much. We gotta really make some new stars out here. Miko Aono's great, everything else, but I'm really curious how Rossi's gonna respond to this because Utami, I do think Utami is a big loss. So let's see, let's see. But yeah, I think that's it for just news about the business. And we haven't even gotten to the kayfabe stuff this week. Just the shows after WrestleMania. And what to even talk about here? So I guess we'll just begin with Raw. Let me just canvas Raw here. I know that Sol Ruka interrupted Liv Morgan and they had a match, which Sol looked good in, but Zarya interfered, speared Sol, brought her back, and then Liv picked up the scraps and won. We'll get to Sol and Zarya a little bit because they had a crazy development this week. Um, Ethan Page defeated Jovan Evans, so Ethan Page, I guess, debuted on Raw. That's, I guess, cool for Raw. I think Ethan Page could be a solid mid carder there. Maybe even like a world title challenger that doesn't go far beyond like one PLE or one show challenging for that title. Let's see. Obviously, Rhea and Io beat Kabuki Warriors, so I guess that was Kylie's last match. Was like tagging with Asuka to lose to Rhea and Io. Street Profits return. So Street Profits return. They're on Raw now. They look to be in great shape. I've missed the Street Profits, man. Do you think they're finally going to get the Street Profits right this time? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not willing to make a firm stance on that, frankly.
I hear just your like weariness just with it all and like fucking mood,
Hey,
friend,
no, I'm
honestly.
excited though. I'm excited that the Street Profits are both back, and uh oh god, I forget who they're teaming up with now. Fuck, help me.
Seth Rollins.
Seth, yeah, pairing up with Seth is huge. I love that. That's fantastic. I love that for them. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I've lost all faith in the system at this point.
Same. Yeah, I'm a thoroughly broken man. Um, Braun Breaker also brutalized Seth Rollins, so that's kind of continuing. Braun still looking like a stud. Happy for him. Finn Balor still feuding with the Judgment Day. Cool, I guess, whatever. Rhea and Io are split up because Rhea is now going to be a part of SmackDown, being the WWE Women's Champion. Um, LA Knight may be feuding with Gunther again. Listen, bro, you already tapped out. Stop humiliating yourself. Nobody cares. You were on a six-man at Mania. Dude, he tried to act like because Gunther needed help with his win because Braun Breaker interfered, and LA Knight didn't. That like LA Knight's win is more significant than Gunther's win, but like you were in a six-man tag that had Logan Paul and I Show Speed in it, bro. Simmer your fucking ass. Like what the fuck? Meanwhile,
He's
Gunther has
just
faced a guy.
advocating for himself. I know he's annoying, but we can leave space for that.
I guess, but like, it just seems a bit ridiculous that you try and act like they're equivalent. Like, have some fucking sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jacob Fatu challenged Roman Reigns. I'm excited for this one. Should be a lot of fun. Good for Jacob. I was hoping that this would happen after he beat Drew in an unsanctioned match. So that should be pretty fucking fire. That's gonna happen at Backlash. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's do it. Um, Oh, and actually, so I just kind of ran through all the most important stuff on Raw. Do you have any comments about any of that stuff?
No, I don't think so.
All right. NXT, Miles Bourne retained against Dion Lennox, and again, it seems like Dark State at the very least. I mean, maybe Sugars will be excommunicated. Maybe the group will break up altogether, but there was still miscommunications. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, really excited about Dark State, and then this happens. That's wow, what a run. Keanu Carver
Honestly, dude, the
apparently.
wildest thing about the whole Dark State situation to me is that like now the NXT roster is fucking barren. They got completely raided this week. Six, I can't even say talents because one of the six is uh uh oh god, again my mind goes blank. Is there a faction or a tag team? I forget that went to Raw. Raw got, or no, it was, yeah, it was SmackDown. It was Fatal Influence. They got Ray. Yeah, yeah. They lost Soul. They lost Ethan. They lost Hendry. They lost friggin' Fatal Influence. They've revolved the women's division around now for like 2 years. It feels like they lost. God, Ricky Saints, and apparently they're losing Blake Monroe too, because apparently she got a vignette on SmackDown, which I did not see. Um, and now, having lost Ethan and Ricky and Joe Hendry, three of the 4 members of the last main event of their last PLE. Now all of a sudden they're probably regretting not doing more with Dark State, not building them into a more credible force so that they could, I don't know, have 4 or at least 3 credible main event level men's talents to actually support the men's division around now that they lost so much talent.
Yeah, apparently, according to Foster, Saquon is challenging Miles next week. It'll be great to see Saquon in a singles context, but not really expecting him to take the title home. So,
He should.
um, he should, but he won't. Keanu Carver just destroyed Joe Hendry. Cool. I'm for that. Absolutely. Really, really high on Keanu Carver. Alexis King won the Speed Championship. Again,
See,
why?
and this just pisses me off more than anything. Like, oh my god. Listen, I don't have any like major preferences for guys like Tyreek and Tyson and Trill London and Chris Island. But are you seriously telling me that those guys were bigger wastes of roster space than this fucking doucher who you put a title on? Lexus King?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would I
Pop.
would I would pay each of those 4 dudes individually more than Lexus King makes now and cut Lexus King.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I guess I haven't done the running gag with Sean in a while, but there was a time I would go in the Discord like, Sean, it's Lexus King, and he would always do a gif of like, man, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense, or like closing the door in my face, like, oh god, I missed that. But that was probably the most over thing about Lexus King, and maybe they're like, we're into it too. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe he's still here, and a title holder now. So not only is he still here, but in kayfabe, he has even more job security because he has a fucking championship. So there you go. That's the way the cookie crumbles in this fucking business. God, I hate pro wrestling. Let's see what else happened here. Tatum Paxley did retain against Blake Monroe in a casket match, again, alluding to your point that Blake did have a vignette on SmackDown. Honestly, I look at the main roster as a fresh start for Blake. I think the world of her. I think she's so fucking good. I only worry if she is going to be on SmackDown, that is the Tiffany Stratton brand. So it's like, I I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, Izzy Dame apparently is going to be feuding with Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. Fucking awesome. Good for Izzy. That is amazing. Love that for her. And then finally, yeah, Zarya finally got a big fucking win over Zol Ruka. She won or I should say Sol Ruka. I think I said Zol. It's Sol Ruka. In a last woman standing match. Dude, did you see anything about this match?
No.
No, dude, the finish was nasty and like not in a good way. Like a lot of us, me included, watching it, very concerned about Soul. So the thing is, there's kind of this trope in last man standing or last woman standing matches where they go to like that big platform that's like elevated like above the ring and around the crowd and everything else, and they fight and they do a big spot there. No different here. I actually liked, for the most part, how Zarya and Soul executed this, though, because they're going back and forth. There are 2 tables with fucking Slim Jim logos. Oh my god. Brawling on top and doing strikes. Soul actually gets a Soul Snatcher like on the platform, which really stuns Zarya. They continue to strike some more, but Zarya's reeling, and she's about to fall over and go through the tables. Soul grabs her hand, and she just looks at her, and they look at each other, and Soul starts to smile and... Wait, what was that?
I was memeing. I said lovingly?
Yes, lovingly. Yes. And she pulls her in to a hug, and Zarya's crying. She's like, I'm sorry, I love you, this and that. I think, and I am going with this in my headcanon, I think breaking kayfabe, they were saying goodbye to each other, because I do think Soul's just going to be on Raw now, because she had that match with Liv on Monday.
Yeah.
And, I do think that's beautiful. And so I'm not blaming anybody here. I do think just freak things happen. But then Zarya, being the heel, she starts to like, she did the thing kind of like John Cena did, where, the person being hugged can't see it, but she's like mean mugging to the rest of us. Like she's like breathing heavy and like getting all aggressive, like, I'm gonna kill fucking Solruk. And like she looks at her and she just shoves her off the platform. Her body goes through one table, but the back of her head hits the second table. And I'm thinking, oh shit, Soul has a concussion or something.
My mom
Now I
actually
haven't.
did mention that. My mom did point that out to me. I never bothered to go out and watch it myself, though.
Yeah, dude, I don't blame you because it was nasty. I haven't heard any official reports that Soul has a concussion or anything. But I'd be shocked if she was fine after that. That was brutal. But Zarya does win. I like this. I got to give NXT credit for this because I know I've criticized WWE for a lot, all deservedly in this fucking program. But I think they're finally starting to get Zarya right. And I'm gonna look at this as breaking from Soul as kind of like a reset for Zarya, and what a reset it is because she, to go to those depths, and then afterwards she goes to the back, and this is like kind of like a Facebook reel on NXT's Facebook page, and I think they might have uploaded a YouTube thing. She's walking in the back, she's got tears, and I think she said something about how like Soul did this, it was her fault. She wasn't going to stand in her shadow anymore. And then Zarya says, no one is safe. Look, I love Tatum to death, but I think the move here is Zarya beats Tatum for the NXT Women's North American title. And then you call Tatum up to reunite with Lyra, damn it. I'm sorry, Bailey. I love you.
I'm going to be
but
so
fuck.
real with you. I don't think that the round of call-ups is continuing past this week.
You know what? Fair. But damn it, it's what I believe anyway.
I think we'll probably get more call-ups as we approach the Royal Rumble. I don't think we're going to get more call-ups within the next couple weeks, though, or at least
then I
the
still stand by. Yeah, I still stand by then. Like, I do think Zarya should just win the Women's NXT North American Championship. I think she's got a lot of heat on her right now. Or maybe, honestly, because of that heat, if you just want to leapfrog that, have Lola get past Izzy Dame, because, look, I love Izzy, but I don't expect her to win. And feud with Lola. But then again, we also said that Lola's the type of babyface. She's not your usual babyface with this crowd. She's probably gonna have a longer run with the title. So what Zarya does next is an open question. All I'm trying to say is I do think Gold has got to be in that future to me. Just because I really do think, at least it was my impression, that they really want to make her that monster. They really want to make her that force in NXT this time. And so, yeah, kudos to Zarya. Yeah, damn it, Super Blue, you tripped me up because he said Zara likely to chase the NXT Women's title. Zarya and Soul, I commend them for telling a pretty solid story with some decent mic work and a strong finish with that last woman standing match. And yeah, I think this is the Zarya people have been waiting for. And Sol Ruka, I mean, what else can be said? You've called her a future WrestleMania main eventer. If they still even care about having women main event WrestleMania, which that's not really a given, but if they do, she's definitely on that short list for fucking sure. So kudos to them, man. And really, what a beautiful relationship because yeah, like I just feel like again that hug that was some real shit. And I think, I'm happy for the both of them. Then we go to SmackDown. Oh boy. Okay. So we got everybody kind of talking to Jacob, Jacob Fatu and the MFTs. And then apparently Jey Uso even kind of talked to him about like, what do you need to do? You need to look him right in his eye and you need to show him you're ready for war. So they're trying to act like Jacob Fatu, like he may not be ready for this. Bitch. First of all, you got a gimmick that's one fucking word. Maybe sit your ass down. You got your run already.
He don't get ready. He stays ready.
Exactly. I mean, this is Jacob Fatu's fucking time.
To Jacob. I don't think he needs a new theme, but that theme fits him too.
It does fit him. You're absolutely correct about that. So yeah, that happened. Tiffany Stratton won the women's U.S. title, which honestly, for this moment in time in our country, because it's such a shithole, she is the perfect women's United States champion. So honestly, like, yeah, she fits the moment perfectly. I can't lie about that.
This match, Julia had some really cool moments in this match where she seemed really confident, but there was never a point in this match where it felt like Julia was actually going to win to me.
Oh, no. As soon as I knew when this match was happening, I'm like, Tiffany is winning. I never believed that Julia was going to retain. And I think our Utami discussion earlier, why I've been like so struggling and almost ambivalent, like in a lot of like what I'm thinking and feeling, is just because I also think about Julia. Like I miss Julia in Japan because she
Yeah.
was hot shit there and she was doing great shit. And now I'm again, my opinion, she just feels really mid to me, and it's like it's fucking Julia. Julia should never feel mid. I know there
The
were some
good
people
news
hoping that
is she's still really fucking hot, and that alone will keep her over to a certain degree.
that tragically is fucking true. I know some people were like, maybe she'll go to Raw now because her frenemy Stephanie Vaquer is there and she just lost the title. I fucking wish. But then again, maybe it wouldn't even matter because it's all under the same shit umbrella anyway. So yeah, she lost. Curious what Julia will do next. We'll see. Um, I can't believe I'm saying this sentence. Our women's tag team champions, Brie Bella and Paige. Oh my god. Got confronted by Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, but then they got attacked by Fatal Influence. Yeah,
My
they're doing
mom's
stuff.
favorite faction.
Oh my god, the hatred your mom has for JC Jane. Let me just make something perfectly clear, because this is going to be a very interesting era in TwitWoW history. Ashton's mother's opinion does not reflect those of like TwitWoW Incorporated. Because like I've always been honest, I think JC to me is always like a mid Carter. And like I know I'm
See,
the
and
IWC guy,
I
but
would have
I've
said that about her in NXT too, and they insisted on revolving the fucking division around her.
yeah, and they're probably gonna do it again. So get ready for JC Chain 2, something Boogaloo. I don't know. I don't really have the energy right now to come up with creative rhymes, but yeah, I mean, they
Fatally
attack everybody.
influential Boogaloo.
There you go. There you fucking go. Um, they they attack them, and then they also lay out Rhea. So already, I mean, think about who they went after. Paige, Charlotte Flair, Alexa, and Brie Bella. Whether we like them or not, like canonically, those are
Well,
like big
dude,
names to go after, and then they go after Rhea later.
yeah, that's what I was
Like,
gonna say. And then later on in the show, they come back out to massive heat and target the fucking world champion. Christ,
and honestly, Fatal Influence could have a better run here
dude,
than on
they're
NXT.
gonna put a title on every single one of them. JC's gonna win the world title from Rhea with help from the other two, and then the other two are gonna win tag gold, and they're gonna all have titles.
We're the best guys. Gonna last forever. And it's crazy because, like, again, I was the guy that was like, man, that breakup's coming. Man fell and we can't take any more of JC shit. Fucking whelp. You know, and now it's like, actually, we're tripling down, as in, we're giving each member a championship. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, that's damn awesome. So we're doing that. We're doing
We
that.
sure are, bud. We sure are.
Pop. So Jacob Batu defeated Solo because he still hates Solo, and apparently he laid waste to the MFTs by him fucking self because of course he
Dude,
did.
he did. It was so fucking badass because it seemed like it's like, well, it's 1 on 4. Obviously, they're gonna beat his ass, and then he just slowly kept on not going down to their shots and making his comeback, and eventually he kind of dominated him low key.
Yeah, because Jacob Batu, like the sensible human fucking being he is, had a moment when he was getting beat down, being like, wait a minute, if this continues, I'm
I
gonna need
need.
Jimmy Uso's
Oh,
help, and he'd rather fucking die. So he got up and he beat all their asses. I'm proud of you, Jacob. I'm proud of you. Fuck Jimmy Uso. And honestly, fuck J2 at this point. Him trying to be like, oh, you know, I don't know if you're ready for Roman Reigns. Okay, yeah, you just never really beat Roman Reigns either, even though you should have. And then Jimmy betrayed you, and then you took him back. So like, whatever. I don't know. And that's pretty much WWE. And yeah, and then Danhausen apparently, I guess, beat the Miz or something. They're still doing that whole thing.
dude, it was
So cool.
weird. They had a whole thing tonight where like Danhausen showed up at the Miz's house, and
Yeah,
it was it was like classic WWE comedy shit. There was even a moment in there where Danhausen was leaving the house and Maurice had just shown up at the house, and as Danhausen was leaving, Maurice was like crossing his path, and she was like, "You," and he was like, "Oh yes, I'm Danhausen," or whatever the fuck. And then the Miz threw a glass bowl, I guess, full of cocoa powder onto Maurice, having been aiming for Danhausen. And there was this sort of like awkward moment where he was like, I was aiming for him. And she's just like standing there covered in cocoa powder. They really like, they're, why did I think that this sort of infantile Looney Tunes sense of humor would go away when Vince went away? What the fuck, man? I swear to God.
Well, apparently
I'm
it's here to
I'm not
stay,
complaining
friend.
about Danhausen. I'm complaining about somebody backstage thinking that it would be fucking hilarious if the Miz accidentally threw a bowl full of cocoa powder onto his wife. That's Vince
Yeah.
shit. That is peak Vince shit. That's dog food on Roman Reigns tier bullshit garbage.
This is such good shit. But
I
go.
gotta calm
There
down.
you fucking go. And Super Blue, no, he's not. No, he's not. I will send you the clip of Knight tapping out again. I still have it bookmarked, okay? But we're in the middle of a show right now. I'm trying to stay locked in. So that is WWE, and the only thing, I guess, with AEW, Darby retained against Ciampa, and
Tom Macer.
that was. Say that again.
Tom Macer.
Hey, there you go. And MJF wants his rematch. Darby's like, no, you got to put something up. Which, why? I think AEW still does rematch clauses, and so no, the fuck I don't. You little fucking emo twerp. Give me a rematch for the fucking championship. But then Kevin Knight confronted MJF. They had a little bit of a promo, and now MJF's going to challenge Kevin Knight for the TNT Championship next week. So good luck to Kevin Knight, or the Jet, as he refers to himself, in kind of a rock imitation that I don't really quite care for, if I'm being honest.
Really? I
And
haven't
so,
seen that, admittedly.
yeah, you're better off. You're
Oh
better off.
no. Is it like offensive or something?
It's not offensive. It's just kind of cringe to me. Like, I think he tries to be cool, and like, for me, it doesn't connect. Whereas, like,
Huh.
you look at a guy like a Trick or an Oba, which, oh yeah, how did I forget that? Trick got attacked by a gingerbread man that turned out to be fucking Sami Zayn this week. That also happened on SmackDown. And then Sammy danced afterwards, and the crowd booed him, and Sammy was looking like, what the fuck? You love when I dance. What is this?
That was pretty
Uh,
great. Yeah.
Super Blue, don't tell me what to do. Actually, Ashton, you got to give me a second. I have to handle this. It's the principal. Um, okay, hold on. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna jump to present. Fucking Super Blue, you'd think you'd fucking learn by now. You think you would learn by now.
Who
Um,
is he definitely talking to you saying don't you do it?
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I told him that I would post that clip again, and you know how I feel about being told what to do. You know this more than anyone,
It's
and
true. I do.
I thought it was common knowledge, and apparently it's not. And so now, I've got to, yeah, now I posted it, and I pinged you in it, Super Blue. You could have avoided all of this. You did this. Fuck. But yeah, so now that that's taken care of, so after all that, I don't know what they're gonna do with Sammy. I think they are just gonna keep him a babyface like Cody, but at least it's gonna be more of a self-aware babyface of the booze. Whereas Cody, it's like, no, we can't acknowledge it. You're still loved by everybody, which feels kind of unfair, but whatever. And then yeah, I already talked about AEW, or at least what I saw of it. Did you have anything you wanted to add to the wrestling discussion before we move on to politics?
No.
Wonderful, wonderful. Shame on me. Dude, again, you did this. All right, on to politics. Oh my god. So where to even start?
Let's not bury the lead.
Well, what is the lead in this case? Because I feel like
The
everything's on.
the
I
most
guess the White House
recent big
Correspondents' Dinner.
story, the White House shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. There was a shooting. Nobody got hurt. Well, I'm going to say thankfully, but I know what everybody was wishing for. I'll just put it that way. And there was this whole thing. Trump was like, "Oh, we're gonna, the show will go on," and then Secret Service was like, no." Like protocol dictates that we shut this shit down and do the do not cross tape and
They
like the whole
really thought,
shebang.
man. They really fucking thought. Trump was like, "Oh, I'm a tough guy. We're gonna do it anyway."
Yeah. Apparently, from video, people. Now, I don't know if this is true or not because the video wasn't really clear to me. But like, Trump left immediately and like left his wife behind. Like, he heard those gunshots and he made like a spree for it. Um,
Melania, They're coming for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's happening. Apparently, like
We knew
everybody,
this day
everybody
would
is
come.
yes. According to latest updates, like everybody again is safe. I'm trying to see if there was anything more found out about the potential assailant. Um, they described the assailant as carrying multiple weapons, charging a security checkpoint before being taken into custody. So it does seem like again he was apprehended, and it does seem to be potentially a lone wolf kind of issue. But I mean, look, guys, again, this is the new normal that we kind of have in the sense that look, standard of living has gone to fucking hell for a lot of people. We have a overtly corrupt government that's treating the business of government as just one giant grift and is just making money off of it, whether it's crypto schemes or backdoor deals or anything else. You expect this kind of stuff to happen. I mean, now there is, because we talked last week or 2 weeks ago about the warehouse fire set by the guy that was sympathetic to Luigi Mangione. Now there is a warehouse fire tracker. Now, I want to stress this point again. Warehouse fires are very common. So we can't just act like, oh, this is like an employee uprising. You know, like I know I'm more utopian and like optimistic than anybody sometimes when I get on my own bullshit, but it's always good to take off the rose-tinted glasses. They are very common, but just the idea that people are even tracking them, I think the symbolic significance of that is still strong. And I want to stress that the symbolic significance is still strong. Yeah, there are things happening here. I mean, people are very dissatisfied. His approval rating is underwater. I posted a story from NBC News that a good percentage of Gen Z desire to live in the past. Let me actually pull up the article so I can give you guys hard numbers. Let's see here. I think it was let's see. Nearly 47% of adults aged 18 to 29 said if they had the option, they'd choose to live in the past. One third said they'd pick a time period less than 50 years in the past, while another 14% said they'd choose more than 50 years in the past. Meanwhile, 38% of Gen Zers said they'd prefer to live in the present, 10% said they'd go less than 50 years in the future, and 5% chose more than 50 years in the future. So the results were largely consistent across gender
Well,
lines and
nobody wants
partisan
to go
divide.
more than 50 years in the future because that's when the climate crisis is going to start really having major effects.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Climate is so fucked. Um, the results were largely consistent across gender lines and partisan divides, though young black adults were less likely to say they'd prefer to live in the past. I wonder fucking why.
Jesus Christ, no
33%.
shit.
Yeah. 33%, then young white adults, 52%. Gee, I wonder why. Or young Hispanic adults, 47%. The broader sentiment underscores the negative outlook many young Americans feel about their future prospects in the state of the country. The poll found that 62% of Gen Z respondents said they expect life will be worse for them compared to previous generations, compared to 25% who said it will be better and 13% who said it would be about the same. My sympathy with those 62% because that seems to really be backed by the hard fucking data of the situation. When you look at the cost of living, when you look at how people have been priced out of healthcare and housing and everything else, which should be fucking human rights anyway, but I digress. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it in this country, guys. Morale is in the fucking toilet. The government is overtly corrupt and murderous and packed with fucking rapists and war criminals and just the worst imaginable fucking people. Um, and this is what happens. And this gunman, who knows? They could have been. And see, this is where the political climate is so fucked because to me, it's just as believable that it could be somebody that thinks Trump hasn't gone far right enough, right? Just as much as it could be somebody that thinks that they're doing a patriotic service by trying to get to the president or whatever. You know, that's just how broken the climate is and everything, and the Overton window is. It's just yeah, this is where we're fucking at. So there was a shooting there, but again, everybody's safe. Let me see. Oh, this story was kind of insane. We need to talk about this. Well, actually, I'll kind of work backwards. So the Trump administration approved firing squad executions for the death penalty. So firing squads are being brought back. Fuck the carceral state and fuck the death penalty to begin with. The stories about lethal injection and other methods are horrifying. In fact, because of those stories, some people might even think firing squads are the more humane option. But just think about how fucked that whole discourse is when it's like, well, what's the most humane way to kill somebody? Firing squad. Like,
Here's an
Jesus fucking
idea.
Christ.
No state-sponsored murder, thanks.
Yeah, you would think. You would think. But, I mean, that ship apparently has fucking sailed. Some good news. Netanyahu revealed he quietly underwent treatment for undisclosed prostate cancer. And he said he wanted to keep it private, not to distract from the Iran war. Again, I know I've said this like 3 times already in a prior story, but gee, I wonder why. It's really fitting karma for a guy that was avoiding corruption charges, which is why he exacerbated a like multi-decade spanning genocide, and then decided, you know what? I'm gonna fuck with Syria and Lebanon too, and I'm gonna murder as many children as I can, and then I'm gonna go and make a video and say that this war in Iran, I have dreamed about that. Like most people have dreams. I want to make the world a better place. I want to be an astronaut. I want to fall in love. This dude's dream was, I want to do war with Iranians. I want to destroy that whole civilization. I've had this dream for 40 years. Well, I'll tell you what my dream is now. My dream is that prostate cancer makes a fiery babyface comeback and becomes our ultimate babyface of the year, taking your sorry ass the fuck out. Fuck Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck Zionism, and fuck the crackdown, because Israel knows they have lost American support just in general. The Democratic base rejects you, and they're cannibalizing candidates that are like, I would still like to make the party pro-Israel. Get the fuck out. Republicans aren't dealing with you, although albeit for very different reasons, because they've gone so far right that it's all about the anti-Semitism. For them, it's like, we're envious that they have an ethno-state. Like, we want an ethno-state for white people, and fuck Jewish people. And by the way, again, I want to be explicit about this. Jewish people do not fuck with Zionism. Plenty of Jewish people here and abroad are like, no, don't do it in my fucking name. You're fucking insane. This is genocidal. This is murderous. This is a Holocaust. This is what happened to us. Never again means never again for everyone. And the idea that you've tried to implicate all Jews in this is the ultimate anti-Semitic thing you could fucking do. So again, to Zionism and its adherents, get fucked. So very happy about that prostate cancer. Rooting for it. Really, really rooting for it. Ghislaine Maxwell. Jesus fucking Christ. So apparently there was a story, I think it came from the Daily Beast, that an undisclosed drive, like I don't know if it was like a USB drive or what, found its way to the Department of Justice. And then there was talk about Maxwell potentially being pardoned. So, like, I wonder if this is Maxwell, like, kind of putting pressure on, hey, this is the shit we have on you, like, get me the fuck out of here, even though she's already living very comfortably, right? Like, she wants the full pardon, she wants to be out in open society, whatever. We already know the new attorney general and everything else. They're like, we're not gonna pursue it, we're not gonna prosecute any of this, because of course they're not. It's the pedophilic, billionaire, fucking murderous class. This was always going to be the end goal, always the end game for them. So yeah, she might get pardoned. We'll try and keep track of that. Still going up here, because there was one story that just really made me fucking okay. Yeah, here we go. The Department of Justice. Now again, this just shows you like they're fascist. They're fucking fascist. The Department of Justice has charged the Southern Poverty Law Center with fraud over secret funding of extremist groups. Now, remember, folks, Southern Poverty Law Center here in America makes the list of hate groups, gathers the intel, gathers data on activity of hate groups in the country and everything else. And as you can imagine, a lot of the hate groups on that list are very far right, very pro-Trump, very like pro everything going on here, just this whole regime. So of course they're going to go after it, because, to them, it's like, it's opposition, right? And these charges, it's crazy, because my understanding was that, the Southern Poverty Law Center, sometimes they will, fund informants to infiltrate these groups, to gather the data so they could stay up to date about movements of these groups, membership, stuff like that. You have to get people on the inside sometimes to get the data that really matters. And that's what this is about. When they're saying funding, really what it is we have to get inside these extremist groups to know how they're operating. And so, yeah, this is to dismantle another watchdog for fascism and extremist groups in this country. I fucking hate it here. It is a far-right fucking shithole, and that is just another protection just gone. And the rate at which things are being gutted and everything is just really fucking insane to me. But of course, we always have money for war and shit, right? So let me see what else this week, because, okay, this is the 26th, so I would stop at the 19th. Some good news is that AIPAC again lost in a Michigan race. And, it's just, again, the Democratic Party is rejecting Israel. Republican Party is rejecting Israel. Again, I can't stress enough, for completely different reasons. But yeah, I mean, it just is not having the stranglehold on the country that it used to, at least as far, again, as the base is concerned. The actual politicians, I mean, the money's still good, right? The checks are still clearing. So as long as that's happening, I don't know. It's going to be a long fight, but clearly things are happening, and I wouldn't get dismayed. Like, the tide is definitely turning. We need to talk about this, okay? It's been so rare because I feel like I usually talk the most about international stuff because the Iran war has been huge. I will touch on that. This is the biggest story this week because we need to fucking talk about this too. So Palantir put out pretty much like a tweet thread serving as a political manifesto. Uh, I normally don't do this because I do like to get these shows done quick, but this is terrifying stuff, and it's not that long. I'm gonna try and get through these points quickly, but I want to read this to you guys if you haven't read it because this is fucking nuts. And again, this came from Alex Karp, one of the big guys behind, I think even one of the founders of Palantir, because I know everybody thinks about Peter Thiel, but it's a multi-person operation. So they said, because we get asked a lot, the Technological Republic in brief. Number one, Silicon Valley owes a moral debt to the country that made its rise possible. The engineering elite of Silicon Valley has an affirmative obligation to participate in the defense of the nation. So pretty much, again, angling to be more a part of the Department of Defense. There were already stories that came out like last year. The top-level executives in Palantir and OpenAI were integrated in the military. They look at AI as the future of warfare. And I'm not saying that from like an ethical, oh, we got to stay ready. It is a business. They see they're already making a shit ton of money on the military contract side. They want more of it. They want to monopolize, I think, military contracts and the military profitability. So that's what I take that. Number two, we must rebel against the tyranny of the apps. Is the iPhone our greatest creative, if not crowning achievement as a civilization? Wow, the arrogance. The object has changed our lives, but it may also now be limiting and constraining our sense of the possible. Free email is not enough. The decadence of a culture or civilization, and indeed its ruling class, will be forgiven only if that culture is capable of delivering economic growth and security for the public. I look at this as pure lip service. We've already known that Sam Altman, because he had a Molotov cocktail thrown at his fucking mansion, was like, oh, I think UBI might be a good idea. Yeah, sure you do. Sure, it's lip service, save your fucking ass, because you see that the fucking people that you look at as bottom feeders are starting to turn on you, and you realize that we have the numbers. So, and you can't wait to get the technology rolled out where you could contain those numbers more effectively. Again, we didn't get angry enough. I know that's hard to believe, but we didn't get angry enough about Gaza, because Gaza was a testing ground for so much, and including a lot of these new technologies that they want to use on populations, I would say foreign and yes, domestic. We have a very militarized force in this country just with ICE alone, and I'm very scared that could go in the future. So I look at that as number three as just lip service. Number four, the limits of soft power, of soaring rhetoric alone, have been exposed. The ability of free and democratic societies to prevail requires something more than moral appeal. It requires hard power, and hard power in this century will be built on software. Again, this is the military angle. And also, I find this rhetoric hilarious when this is a regime that's all about hard power and it's showing its whole fucking ass. Because Iran is also like doing hard power in the sense that they are fighting this war asymmetrically, but they're also strengthening diplomacy by being like, hey, you see how the US kind of fucked you over? Come over with us. We can work out a deal and we'll open the strait for you to let your ships pass through. Hard power alone doesn't sustain empires. The complete disregard of soft power is going to be one of the most fatal blows to this empire in history. And they still don't see it. It's crazy. Number five, the question is not whether AI weapons will be built, it is who will build them and for what purpose. Our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theatrical debates about the merits of developing technologies with critical military and national security applications. They will proceed. So again, wanting to get on the military angle, wanting to be like, AI is going to be really fucking important, guys, for the military, which it's horrifying because apparently Israel is already using a lot of AI tech like in Lebanon and stuff, and you see the people that are dying. You see what's happening. It's mortifying. This one is one of the main reasons I even wanted to read this manifesto to you guys. Number 6. National service should be a universal duty. We should, as a society, seriously consider moving away from an all-volunteer force and only fight the next war if everyone shares in the risk and the cost. This is essentially saying, hey, let's bring back the fucking draft. Let's not do volunteer. Look, service is patriotism. Everybody has to have skin in the game. Well, everyone should mean everyone, including the children of fucking billionaires, but they're never going to touch a fucking battlefield. They want your children to die. I mean, I know none of our immediate audience has children, but anybody that could come across this for the politics, they want your children to fucking die. They want your loved ones to fucking die more generally, and that might have more applicability to our immediate audience. Insane. Insane. 7. If a U.S. Marine asks for a better rifle, we should build it, and the same goes for software. We should, as a country, be capable of continuing a debate about the appropriateness of military action abroad while remaining unflinching in our commitment to those we have asked to step into harm's way. Again, I just feel like that's more lip service. Public servants need not be our priests. Any business that compensated its employees in the way that the federal government compensates public servants would struggle to survive. Wow. Wow. So it pretty much being like, listen, I know you want a higher minimum wage and everything, but what if they can't afford it? I mean, they're not your priest. Jesus fucking Christ. We should show far more grace towards those who have subjected themselves to public life. The eradication of any space for forgiveness, a jettisoning of any tolerance for the complexities and contradictions of the human psyche, may leave us with a cast of characters at the helm we will grow to regret. So this is pretty much, in my mind, being like, don't shame billionaires. Stop, like, trying to kill Sam Altman. Don't set warehouses on fire. You know, like, shouldn't we learn to forgive? Yeah, maybe don't be a piece of shit. The psychologization of modern politics is leading us astray. Those who look to the political arena to nourish their soul and sense of self, who rely too heavily on their internal life finding expression in people they may never meet, will be left disappointed. This, to me, is an attack on solidarity. Don't have solidarity with somebody you don't even know. Let ICE do their fucking job and stay out of politics. Life is more than politics. No, everything is fucking political. This is just a fucking lie. Our society has grown too eager to hasten and is often gleeful at the demise of its enemies. The vanquishing of an opponent is a moment to pause, not rejoice. Don't even need to point out the hypocrisy of that statement. The atomic age is ending. One age of deterrence, the atomic age is ending, and a new era of deterrence built on AI is set to begin. Again, really pushing AI as the future, and Palantir wants to be at the forefront of it. So just, again, a propaganda spin. No other country in the history of the world has advanced progressive values more than this one. The United States is far from perfect, but it is easy to forget how much more opportunity exists in this country for those who are not hereditary elites than in any other nation on the planet. Don't even really know what to say to that one. American power has made possible an extraordinarily long peace. Too many have forgotten or perhaps take for granted that nearly a century of some version of peace has prevailed in the world without a great power military conflict. At least three generations, billions of people and their children and now grandchildren have never known a world war. Yeah, look around you. I think that's changing real quick. Okay, this was another big one. 6 and 15 on these bullet points of this manifesto really made my eyes like widen and, whatever. The post-war neutering of Germany and Japan must be undone. The defanging of Germany was an overcorrection for which Europe is now paying a heavy price. A similar and highly theatrical commitment to Japanese pacifism will, if maintained, also threaten to shift the balance of power in Asia. So we've already talked about like the international far right, how a lot of governments are far right governments. And now they're saying, like, listen, maybe we were a little too hard on Nazi Germany, in the wake of the war, and Imperial Japan, when they were a part of the Axis powers. I will say we didn't need to fucking bomb Japan. Any historian can tell you that. But the war in and of itself, needed to be fought at least on that front. Of course, it was also capitalist interests here in the U.S. But yeah, I'm not going to apologize for any defanging that happened of Nazis, which honestly didn't even go far enough as far as I'm fucking concerned. Number 16, we should applaud those who attempt to build where the market has failed, blah, blah, blah. The culture snickers. So this is defending Elon Musk, apparently. Nothing really to say here. This was another scary one, 17. Silicon Valley must play a role in addressing violent crime. Many politicians across the United States have essentially shrugged when it comes to violent crime, abandoning any serious efforts to address the problem or take on any risk with their constituencies or donors, and coming up with solutions and experiments in what should be a desperate bid to save lives. This was scary to me. I mean, the word experiments especially, because I think there was even an Epstein email, I think from Bill Gates, that was like, I've been thinking about what you said about what should we do about the poor people. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. 18. The ruthless exposure of the private lives of public figures drives far too much talent away from government service. The public arena and the shallow and petty assaults against those who dare to do something other than enrich themselves has become so unforgiving that the Republic is left with a significant roster of ineffectual, empty vessels, whose ambition one would forgive if there were any genuine belief structure lurking within. No. We're calling out people that get exposed for either being rapists or taking money from APAC or any other shady fucking shit that we no longer want in our politics. This is essentially saying, listen, sit down, shut the fuck up, and let us install who we want to install in government positions. Um, 19, the caution in public life that we unwittingly encourage is corrosive. Those who say nothing wrong often say nothing much at all. Again, this is fucking like anti-wokeism, cancel culture bullshit. It's not that fucking serious. I fucking hate these people. Number 20, the pervasive intolerance of religious belief in certain circles must be resisted. The elite's intolerance of religious belief is perhaps one of the most telling signs that its political project constitutes a less open intellectual movement than many within it would claim. Again, this is absurd. Pete Hegseth is an open Christian nationalist. Trump does prayer circles in the fucking Oval Office. If anything, we don't have enough religious intolerance, at least of, right-wing Christianity. Um, some cultures have produced vital advances, others remain dysfunctional and regressive. All cultures are now equal. Criticism and value judgments are forbidden. Yet this new dogma glosses over the fact that certain cultures and indeed subcultures have produced wonders, others have proven middling and worse, regressive and harmful. So pretty much racism dressed up in like intellectual rhetoric, like, oh, aren't I so smart? Fuck you, this is white supremacy. We already know what this is. And finally, mercifully, we must resist the shallow temptation of a vacant and hollow pluralism. We in America, and more broadly the West, notice the dog whistling here, have for the past half century resisted defining national cultures in the name of inclusivity, but inclusion into what? So now again, anti-multiculturalism, part of a white supremacist ethno-state. They want a monoculturalism defined by whiteness and everything else. So yeah, I only read this because, again, this is Palantir. This is something deeply integrated into many, if not all, levels of government. The federal government has allies of Palantir and beneficiaries of Palantir, and they put out a manifesto like this being like, yeah, maybe time to do a draft, and maybe racism is good, and maybe Nazi Germany, maybe we could have been a bit more lenient with them, and all this other stuff. Yeah. And this was, I think, Alex Karp, according to this Super Blue, this was oh wait, I closed out of it. It was an excerpt from a book called The Technological Republic, and it was like written by, I think, Alex Karp and somebody else that's involved in Palantir on some level. But yeah, that's what the tech oligarchs are doing while we're like trying to fight to fucking eat and stay alive. They're like, let's just reshape government in our image. So yeah, that was the wildest story this week. That and the Southern Poverty Law Center story, where the DOJ is pretty much trying to dismantle it, should really tell you again where we're still headed. And that's why I need people again to think like, this goes so far beyond midterms. This goes so far beyond 2028. Like, this is a decade long, at least minimum, project to me of taking the country in a radically different direction in the left, because it's going so far right. I mean, we're living it. We're living the kind of Nazi Germany, World War II era kind of history. That's what they want. That's what they admire. And it's horrifying, but with modern technology and with deep integration with these tech companies, which might even make it more horrifying in a way. So yeah, there were other domestic stories, but I really try and focus for these segments on the biggest, and I feel like that manifesto so brazenly put out was pretty huge. Now for some quick international news. Apparently talks are still going. I think the US really wants to end this war. I think we've known that for a while. The big question will be like, obviously Israel's ambitions. We know they want a greater Israel. They've been terrorizing Lebanon, everything else. They've already acted like, oh, Lebanon wasn't included in the ceasefire. Then the US was like, yes, it was. What the fuck are you doing? And just this whole back and forth. So I think there are going to be talks next week, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to see what happens. But the bigger story to me, as far as the international, because there really wasn't too much. I mean, maybe there was, and maybe I'm just getting tired because it's been a lot, and there's only so much death you can read about before you're like, I need to disengage. But one piece of interesting news, and this came from the Wall Street Journal, the United Arab Emirates, so that whole block, Saudi Arabia and the like, they said to the Trump administration, quote, you started this war. If we run short of US dollars as a result of it, either you will give us USD swap lines or we'll be forced to start transacting oil and gas in CNY and other currencies. So I think the CNY is the Chinese like yuan. So again, this to me is huge because I think one lingering effect of this war might be, and I say might be because I don't like to prognosticate or be declarative or anything like that, but the US currency globally is losing its dominant status. We already see in the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is forcing ships to trade in the yuan, and now the UAE, which is a strong US ally or was in that region, is like, hey, we're hemorrhaging here. You're not really protecting us because you're really caring about Israel, which, God, that partnership is going to be the death of so much for the US because so many other people are like, you let us get bombed. You let our fuel depots get bombed. You let this get destroyed. Where the fuck are you? Why are you coddling Israel's balls like we're fucking bleeding out over here? And now the UAE is saying, help us, or we're going to be forced to trade in other currencies that aren't the US dollar. And the more that dollar loses power globally, man, it's going to be horrible for this economy. I'm telling you, because the moment people stop trading in our currency, I feel like that's when everything just collapses. And I don't know what comes next after that because it's really just such unprecedented territory because it's just been the way it's been for so many decades, right? I mean, this would be massive. So this is another chip away at that. I mean, it's not done yet. I think the US currency is still dominant globally. So again, I'm not trying to make any big declarative statements, but you see what the Iran war is doing. You see what the effects of it are doing in the Middle East. And yeah, I know that my friend Jace, who I've talked about, that I think has had amazing takes on this whole thing. He has said, like, I think the worst shocks of this war economically haven't even been felt yet. I think a lot of people are fixated, rightfully so, on gas. Gas might still get worse. I'm still worried not only about grocery prices, but food production in general. You couple that already with like the climate change news that we've been talking about. Um, it's a grim time. You know, I'm never gonna lie to you guys. I never want to go full doomer, but it's grim. I mean, you have far right incompetent people running things that want to destroy things for their own enrichment and advancement. A lot of regular people are suffering and really struggling. And on the international stage, I mean, the U.S. is increasingly losing its standing by the day. And they know it. Like Trump insiders, apparently there was an article because they know midterms are around the corner. And one of the insiders said, like, we're gonna get killed. And really it was mainly because of gas prices. But I think, you know, it goes so far beyond that now. Like everything is just being fucking destroyed. So yeah, that's really the only international news I have for you. And I think that's essentially going to wrap it up for politics. So we can move on to free talk and or not free talk. That's a channel in the Discord. We can move on to pop culture. So Ashton, I know what we've been doing. We finished the latest season of Invincible, which was fucking fantastic. Thrag is fucking unstoppable. But what else? What else has been going on? I guess just with you personally, because I know the big thing we did was Invincible, and we've started rewatching Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. But what about you on the pop culture section here?
Honestly, I wish I had more to say, just because I feel like I'm having one of those weeks where I'm watching too much, like, I don't want to call it brain rot content, but like too much YouTube content and IG reels and Facebook reels, and not actual like creative, like planned out, like long form content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I will say
yeah.
also, the one movie that we did watch this week before we got back into Invincible was the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That was a really cool one.
Yeah, that's right. That was a fun movie. I enjoyed that. That was a good time.
But yeah,
Really?
Invincible Thrag is insane, and
Yes.
I don't mean like mentally unwell. I mean insane, like just like unbelievable, like similar vibes to the when we first met Jiren in Dragon Ball Super, like maybe even more ridiculous, honestly. Like
Yes.
there were, I think in hindsight, I do think that the most ridiculous moment of his was when he and Nolan were having their little conversation, and he decides that it's time for the conversation to be over. So he winds up hard enough that it sucks Nolan towards him, and then he uppercuts him out into space. That was ridiculous.
That was insane, bro. That was fucking nuts. I'm like, what the fuck? Um, I'll tell you that scene. I mean, again, I hope it's safe to talk about. I'll just do a quick countdown: five, four, three, two, one. So you could just maybe skip ahead for spoilers here, or just mute this. Um, but Invincible choking out Conquest. Like I even watched that clip last night because somebody uploaded the full fight. Man. Like, I love the moment because there are always little things that you don't catch the first time just because you're so focused on the viscera, like guts literally being pulled out in front of you. There is a moment where when Mark, like, he bit the thumb off of Conquest and he spits it out, which is already hardcore. That Conquest does like the chop or like thrust the hand inside of Mark, fucking
through
Dr.
his
Giro
through
style to
through his
Yancha
through his stomach, basically.
through his stomach, and he's smiling, but Mark hasn't let go, and you can see like his face intensifies, like, no, I'm not letting go. I'm finishing this, and then that smile from Conquest slowly fades because he falls back. Like, yeah, man. Mark is not to be fucked with. That dude's mental state, like, I think he finally asked Cecil for therapy or whatever to talk to somebody just because he had pre-PTSD from all of his visions of what the Viltrumites would do to Earth. That dude needed therapy after season fucking 1. Okay, like, little late to the party here, but yeah, that dude has mentally been through so much. And then you and I both kind of laughed because when he finally recovered again from having been disemboweled practically, um, he walks over to what he assumes is like a burial for Conquest or whatever, just to see that the job's fucking finished or what have you. And like, yeah, like that's Mark now. That's what the world has done to Mark. So great season. Great season. Really enjoyed it. As for me on my side, I've actually been rewatching a lot of Code Geass lately. Love that
Nice.
anime.
I love that
Yeah,
for you. You do love that anime. I know that
I
about you.
I do. Yeah, it's been great. I love Lelouch. I love his evil laugh. Johnny Young Bosch as a
I
VA
love
is so.
Labouche, the 90s Eurodance group.
That's also interesting.
They're the group that did
But I love.
Be My Lover, Gonna Be My Lover. I love that song.
There you go. But I love his voice actor and everything. Voice acting, such a beautiful art, which is why it's gonna be a fucking shame when AI really tries to gut it all. Fucking hate it here. But also, me and my family got into some new reality trash, y'all. Fucking Temptation Island, hosted by Mark Wahlberg, which if that name sounds even
Oh,
faintly familiar,
God. Marky
he was
Mark,
the guy that did
ew.
the moment of truth. And I'm just gonna say it, which might be the shittiest thing I've said in a
Wait,
while.
the moment of
I
truth? What?
You don't remember that show?
No.
Have you even heard of that show? Dude, okay. Guys, I need to
I
educate
know
Ashton
Marky
about
Mark
something.
as an actor. I know Marky Mark as the guy who was in The Happening that went, what? No.
No, okay, so there's another superior. It is Wahlberg, isn't it? Let me hold on a second because I know he's on Cameo. I've been tempted to buy a cameo from him actually because him and I need to talk. But let's see here. Is it not? Wait, hold on. Just give
No,
me a
you're
second here,
right. It
folks.
is. It's Mark Wahlberg. It's just spelled differently. There's no H in there like there is in Marky
Yes.
Mark's name.
So the superior Mark Wahlberg. I need to educate Ashton about the moment of truth. So, okay. There was once a show hosted by Mark Wahlberg, and like this dude's mind for reality TV, it's depraved. And I kind of love it because he gets what we really want. And it's just to see the visceralness of human nature really put in the most uncomfortable situations. So, Moment of Truth was you have to answer these questions truthfully, and they get increasingly more intimate, increasingly more personal. But so does the dollar amount. And I think the ultimate cash prize was $1 million. Only one person in the entire history of the show won a million because most people bowed out before they would have something really exposed. I think at one point you get to a certain point in the game where your family members and those in attendance could push a button if they didn't want to hear an answer to a question. The girl that got a million, I almost want to look up the YouTube clip, but I don't want to unnecessarily eat up time. So again, take this with a grain of salt because I might be misremembering, but it almost seemed to imply like, was your father ever inappropriate with a minor? Or like with you as a minor? And she answered yes. And it was the truth. And she wins $1 million fucking dollars. It was one of the most uncomfortable shows. on television at the time, and I was enthralled as a kid. Because even me, like as a child, I understood like, whoa, this is heavy stuff talking about here. I think there was one episode where a relationship pretty much got destroyed because the woman either she told the truth that she cheated on her husband, or she lied and the
Okay,
lie was
I'm
exposed
seeing this
anyway.
here. It was a $500,000 thing, not a million, apparently.
Okay, 500,000. Okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
her name
sense.
was Melanie Williams.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, that was the
You know
first
what
show
though?
he
I
did.
get it, 100%. I mean, fuck her dad. He doesn't deserve secrecy, and she just
Yeah,
made a half a mil off of outing his ass. Good for her.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, the show really went there. And because Mark Wahlberg, like him or not, fucking gets it, then we get to Temptation Island, which my family and I have been watching, which is essentially these couples come in and the men and the women, because they want to work on their relationship, like either, oh, my man has a history of cheating. Like I brought him on the show so he could prove to me that he could resist temptation and we're ready to take that next step, moving in together, getting married, whatever. Um, or like, oh, my girl, like she just seems like non-committal. Like I want to know, does she really want to be with me? Does she want to be with someone else? Like that kind of shit. So they go to this island, and both the girls and the guys live on separate villas for whatever amount of time, maybe like a month, I don't know how long. And they get paired up with these other, well, not even paired up, but there are these other guys and these girls on the respective villas. So the girls, when they're introduced, they get to put bracelets around a guy that they initially vibe with, like, oh, he's cute, or oh, I'm curious about this guy. And then, like, throughout the weeks, like, you could choose, who do you ask out on a date? Who do you connect with? This and that. And it is pretty wild fucking stuff. Like, I'm not going to get into all the nuts and bolts of it. Again, I want to move this segment along, but it is crazy. Super Blue said, fuck Temptation Island. I'm sure there's probably dark secrets to it. I ain't going to lie. I'm enjoying it. I'd probably enjoy it less if I knew how the sausage was made. So if you know something that I don't, Super Blue, please, I'm not going to stop you from sharing by any means. But yeah, Mark Wahlberg, that man has stuff. Because I've only ever seen him do 2 reality projects, and you've just heard the basis of pretty much both of them. This dude is like, listen, reality TV only really matters if it ruins lives. And like, the horrifying thing is, he's really not even wrong because they've been successful, at least, for their period. Maybe even too successful. Maybe people just couldn't take the mirror being held up that long. But yeah, that's what we're watching. Uh, Chris is off tomorrow, actually, so I'm hoping to get together with the family to watch it then. Which, speaking of, for our recordings, it's looking like you and I will probably get together Tuesday for the stardom that we want to do. Because usually they give him 2 days off in a row. So if he's off Sunday, that would also mean he's off Monday. So I'm tentatively going to say Tuesday until I hear something more definitive.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. Oh, and Nevertell put out a new song, which I'm going to be honest, love Nevertell. Love Nevertell, but this wasn't their best track, in my opinion. I didn't really care for it as much as some of their other stuff, but still, I'm happy the success that they're having. They deserve it. But yeah, that's the only music I've really listened to that really sticks out to me. Oh, and I kind of vibed with the new, well, not new to me, Paramore song, Miracle. So I've been kind of listening to that a bit, kind of, bopping my head to it. So that's pretty much it on the music front. What about you musically this week? Just the same classic hits? Any new stuff enter your orbit?
Uh, no, but I did have a new earworm this week, which was Pinky Up by Cat's Eye, and my brain turned it into a mashup with Jump by Blackpink. It was weird, and I kind of dug it at the same time.
Nice.
Cause,
I
cause
mean,
Jump by Blackpink has this like music like breakdown. I don't want to call it a breakdown. I don't know what the word is. I don't know musical terminology. I apologize.
it's okay. We love you.
Basically the beat drop in Jump is it goes really well with the chorus of Pinky Up by Cat's Eye.
Right. Very nice. I mean, look, for me, an earworm doesn't even begin to compare to a tapeworm, but when it happens to you, it's pretty adorable. It's pretty nice. So,
Also, more recently, the big one for me has been Where Is My Husband by Ray. That song has been stuck in my head for like 2, 3 days now.
yeah, I think you even told me about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
There's just
very
something
nice.
really kind of addictive about the sound of that song because I think honestly a lot of it is because it has kind of like that like jazzy drum in the background that just hooks me every single time no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
Very cool, man. Very cool. I think that's it for me for pop culture. Are you good on it?
yeah, I think so. I think we can move on. What's next? Q&A?
Yes, yes.
Holy
And we got quite
shit.
a bit. We got like I think like 8 questions from Super Blue, I think.
Super
Yeah, no,
Blue,
7.
the Q&A machine over here.
Yeah, I guess this begins on the
Also, I just
19th.
realized that WrestleMania Day 2 technically happened during this week for us.
Oh yeah, I have no energy to talk about it
To be
after
fair,
everything
Day
else.
2 was really good especially compared to Day 1. Day 1 was ass. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Day 2 really stepped it up, I think. Day 2 was really fun. I mean, Day 2 opened with Oba Brock and then uh we had some really good matches on that show just in general.
I've been hearing people call Roman Punk one of the best WrestleMania main events in recent history, and
Yeah,
I was shocked. I'm like,
it is my it is my WWE match of the year so far by a pretty decent margin, I would say.
damn.
Trick Sammy was good. The ladder match was really fun. Um, I would say that Rhea Jade over delivered, but I didn't love it. Yeah, and then yeah, Roman Punk, like I said, it's my WWE match of the year.
Nice, nice. All right, let's get into Q&A.
Let's do it.
Starting
Our
with the,
first match from Super Blue is it time to stop having hosts for pay-per-views?
I mean, it's really a non-issue for me because I don't watch the product.
I think the
Was John
better
Cena
question
really that
is was
overbearing?
there ever a time where it was correct to have hosts for pay-per-views? Because I think this is the problem, Super Blue, is you're asking us, people who never asked for this shit in the first place, if we disagree with the shit that we never asked for in the first place. Like, obviously.
Yeah. And was John Cena even really that bad? He seemed harmless to me, and it's WrestleMania. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like that big of a deal to me. Um, what the hell is wrong with these fans harassing wrestlers in Vegas? I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. People that don't respect boundaries of anyone, whether wrestlers or whatever, just are, should really know the consequences of their actions and should be held accountable and should hopefully become better from that experience. But unfortunately, I don't even know if they would. And so, yeah, I don't blame any wrestler that reacted any way that they did. Fans should know, like, there are designated times to meet your favorite wrestler or engage with them and just respect that. I would definitely always make an argument of those should always be financially accessible, those spaces. I don't know how feasible that is under TKO. That's like, let's really wring this for all we can. But that doesn't give anybody the right to be like, oh, and speaking of TKO, this is kind of on them and WWE because there's no like paid for security by the company. It's always like just hotel security that
Well,
also
yeah, and
needs to
not
watch
only is there
everybody
no
else.
paid for security by the company, but from what I understand, there's no paid for lodging by the company either. The wrestlers basically are out for themselves. They have to buy their own hotel rooms and shit. Like it's such horseshit.
I'm really starting to get to the point where I can only talk like politics and social stuff for a like limited amount of time before I really just start getting angry and just lose my reason because I just fucking hate capitalism so much.
Yeah.
This system is so
Also,
disgusting.
did Super Blue delete his eighth question? Because I'm only seeing seven.
No, I miscounted. That's a John issue
Oh,
as per usual.
no! Stop it!
No. That was way too aggressive, but no.
I'll
Uh,
say jeepers.
but yeah, just pay for fucking security. Um let's see what else here. Question 3 for both. Um, okay, yeah. Oba, oh my God, this is such a nonsense. I remember this. Oba has been elevated to the main event scene, and Austin was not. What is Austin missing that Oba has? And they're talking about Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania 39. For one thing, that match fucking sucked. Okay,
Listen, here's the
and so
funny thing. I actually didn't even realize that Super Blue was going to ask a question using this particular Reddit thread, and I went and I answered the question in the Reddit thread. I actually
based.
responded to this Reddit thread because it came across my feed at some point. Let me find my own comment here. Where the fuck is my goddamn comment? Okay, maybe I just have to go into my own comment history. Here we go. Here we go. I quoted the person who posted it who asked, "What is Austin missing to be seen as a true main eventer?" And my answer was personality, authentic personality. Everything about him comes off as fake and lame.
I'm going to be far less mature than you in this. The idea that anybody would think that there is even the remotest comparison one could make between Austin fucking Theory and Obafemi, I'm insulted for the generations that will come after Obafemi from his own bloodline. They did not deserve that disrespect at all. Um,
Facts.
no fucking way. No fucking like that. I'm insulted that I even and look, I'm not gonna blame you, Super Blue, because you genuinely wanted our take on it. I'm more offended that somebody felt the need on Reddit, which already I know kind of has its own shit to deal with. Thought
Listen,
that
here's the
hey, this
thing,
is a good
dude.
question to ask.
It's the fucking WWE subreddit.
God, oh God. Um,
It like I haven't gone through my list of subreddits and done some hedge trimming in a while, but that will be one of the first to go when I do because it is one of the most obnoxiously murky subreddits that I've ever been witness to.
those hedges. Um, so let's move on to the next question. Um, For both, what was worse, Darby winning the world title or Cody retaining the WWE title? I mean, just because I'm in the place where I'm in with pro wrestling, and I'm sorry if like my bitterness and saltiness just can't be held back anymore. I am just gonna say Cody retaining because I do still care marginally more about WWE, and like the fans clearly have rejected Cody. They wanted Randy to win. I think Darby was stupid, like on a booking level, and I already kind of aired my grievances about that. But no, I mean, here's the thing. WWE is still by a significant margin larger than AEW, and that's not trying to be a diss of AEW. That's just material facts. WWE's been around a lot longer, everything else, and Cody being kind of the face of that operation, as far as the world championship goes and stuff like that. Yeah, it fucking sucks, and fans agree. So I just think him retaining is more annoying. Really, what's more annoying than that, and thank you, Sir Blue, for actually bringing Cody up because I didn't give the fuck you to Cody Rhodes that I wanted to on the show, dude. The idea that he was on Raw. Now, granted, it was Saturday, so you could say, oh, 48 hours. He got fucking punted. And he's already on a Raw. Now, granted, they did the makeup on his face, like, oh, really nasty black guy. Maybe it wasn't even makeup. I don't know. They already blading and stuff. Maybe it was a real thing. But, like, that just pissed me off. I'm like, you couldn't even sell it to, at the very least, show up on Friday, like your actual show as the WWE champion. But no, he showed up on both Raw and SmackDown. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. The pun was already like buried a while back. I feel like it wasn't as devastating as when Orton was doing it like
You know what
07 to
though? I
09.
hate this that much more though because it felt like it had been built up all over again to be this like horrible, devastating thing. And then Cody was just like, no, no, don't forget, it's still buried.
Dude, you still pop me, but I really was anticipating you were gonna be like, no, I'm still me, because that also would have worked. Like I'm Cody fucking Rhodes. I wrestled a match with a torn fucking pec. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Um, So yeah, there you go. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Actually, he did say both. So what's your opinion on that? What was worse to you? I'm guessing you just agreed with me about the Cody thing, but I don't know. You might have your own unique opinion, being like, I don't know, man. Fuck them both. So what are you thinking here?
I agree that Cody is worse because with Darby, he's super over with the fans and he won in a story consistent way and no one had to bend over backwards to make people like him the way the WWE has now 3 years in a row with Cody.
True. I mean, just facts. Um, I'm actually really glad this question came up because this is actually something I forgot when I was canvassing domestic news, and this is other good news and hilarious news. For both of us, how do you feel about the Onion taking over Infowars and using this to help Sandy Hook victims? I think it's based as fuck. I
I
think
mean,
it's
the
fucking
using it
awesome.
to help Sandy Hook victims, absolutely based, but people are acting like the Onion getting Infowars is some kind of conservative own. I don't see it that way at all. It's just a whatever thing to me on that front, but it is cool that they're at least using it for good reason.
I just think it's cool seeing like Alex Jones crash out. I don't know what the Onion's going to do with this because I mean this was in the works for a while and then it seemed like it was going to be stalled and maybe not even happen and now like it's back on the table. I do appreciate what you said though because this is my problem with like I don't want to overgeneralize, but like contemporary, like Clinton Obama era, like liberalism and that kind of liberal brain is like they look at this own as like some meaningful material victory. No, it isn't. I'm happy
Yeah,
for the Onion, that's cool, whatever. But
yeah.
like real material victories are unions happening in Amazon warehouses or Starbuckses
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
Sam Altman feeling less safe than he did yesterday. You know, it's like those are the victories I get excited about because those are the victories that matter to people like us when they're quite literally trying to either mass exterminate us, you know, make us obsolete with AI, whatever. I mean, I just read you a fucking long ass Palantir manifesto just because I feel like everybody needs to know about this. Things like that aren't going to turn that tide. Revolutions always begin from the bottom, but still, very cool. They want to help out Sandy Hook victims. And to think, Alex Jones could have kept his operation going forever. You know, had he just not fucked up with that. But you know, it was the thing that ended him. So he just went out over his skis on that one. Question for both. Question 6. If they pull the trigger on LA Knight this year, do you think he gets cut next year? I don't think LA Knight's going to be the type to get cut. As much as I would laugh at that prospect, I do think he's going to be the type to kind of go out on his own terms. That may not mean that he gets the career that he wants, you know, but like he'll just be a WWE lifer essentially. I don't think there's any way he gets cut. I mean, I could be wrong, though, Sir Blue, but I just do not see it remotely. You have any opinions on this?
No.
Cool. So, for both, if you were Yugi in the four-way duel with Joey, Kaiba, and Merrick, would you let Joey face Merrick in the semifinals or face him yourself? Battle City arc. I mean, it already happened. If I'm Yugi and I don't really have that foreknowledge, I mean, maybe I just do stick with my guns. But then again, in that context, Joey did ask me as Yugi, right? Trust in me and believe in me. What am I going to do in the alternate timeline? Be like, well, Joey, the thing is, I see how you rely on luck in most of your duels, and you suck. So I need to face Merrick so that I can get Raw earlier. You could.
That's exactly
maybe
what you do. Yes.
Yeah, yes. But he's not going to do that. So, I mean, I guess if I was Yugi, sure. But then, you know, seeing Giant Chicken kind of roast him alive, since it's me as Yugi, I may have a little giggle pop internally where my other self is like, yo, John, what the fuck? But I don't know. I don't know what I do. I think I keep things the same because then, like, if Joey knows I don't believe in him, that also destroys the entire friend group. And then, like, how does the show move forward? Am I just an asshole? Because, like, I don't know. I don't know what I do with that. So I guess I just keep things as they are. But Ash, it seemed like you were enthused about you being Yugi and just telling Joey, listen, Joey, I would have faith in you if you didn't suck at this. So is that what we're doing here if you're a Yugi?
100% yes.
Based. All right. So Javaris has 2 questions. Question for both. Can we talk about how they spent all of episode 8 of Invincible building up the Viltrumites on Earth to the point where Mark is finally able to get himself to breathe and think, okay, maybe they didn't come to Earth, and boom, his worst fears are reality, as Thrag is standing right there. Are they going to live on Earth, and there isn't a damn thing Mark can do about it? You know what? I've had time to process that ending, which I will say I thought was a really good ending. I liked how muted it was compared to all the blood and guts we got episodes prior. I feel like a muted ending was kind of the way to go because it still had the heaviness of, holy shit, the entire planet has changed and nobody even knows it. Also, while we're talking about Invincible, quick side note, it really annoys me that we didn't have a scene of Mark chewing Cecil out for, like, fucking Conquest. Like, I really wanted that scene where Mark was just like, what the fuck? I told you to kill him. And, like, that just never happened. Dude, I was watching...
Oh boy.
You know you and I are both goofy, so even if you don't pop at this, you can at least appreciate why I did. I was watching a video of the full fight that didn't come from Prime, because they always cut it off at, like, the best parts because they want you to watch the actual show. And one of the comments was pretending to be Mark and being like, guess who I met, Sea Salt? You won't believe who I saw, Sea Salt. So playing on Cecil and calling him Sea Salt. I don't know why that just popped me. Mark just going in an office and being so angry he doesn't even say Cecil's name right. Because that should have happened. He just told you to fucking kill him after he fucking destroyed everybody and traumatized Mark again, and you didn't listen because you thought you knew better. Oh, they absolutely should have had that. I honestly can't forgive the season for that. That's why I think I'm sticking in an 8.5 when we were comparing scores. Because if they had put that scene there, it might have even gotten to a 9 for me. But no, how you do not have Mark confront Cecil on that bullshit. Big mistake. But anyway, to get back to your actual question, Javaris, I did love that ending. And I've thought a lot about it. And really, Thrag might have played himself. Because I'm not saying this is going to happen for every Viltrumite, but I do wonder how many Viltrumites are going to be like Nolan. Where it's like that experience, because I actually did watch that scene too when we're talking about like pop culture and things that we did. I watched the pivotal scene of Omni-Man just beating the shit out of Invincible. And you know, just the whole flashback of watching Mark play baseball and like Nolan kind of smiling and seeing what Debbie sees, and not just about Mark, but about humanity, about the beauty of humans, and maybe we've had it wrong. And I loved how one commenter put it when I watched that scene again, where they said Viltrumite culture trained them for everything except compassion, actually being met with compassion and genuine love. Like, what defense do you have for that? Because they can drill in you what strength is, what weakness is, and whatever, but like those emotions aren't even shown on the planet, and they don't even really talk about those emotions as like, I guess, like things to prepare for. They look at strength and weakness purely in physical terms. And so this is something they're not prepared for. And so I have to wonder how many Viltrumites are going to go the way of Nolan. And so I know Mark is scared, and I know a lot of people would understandably be scared. They might get some unexpected allies from this, even if not from the people directly that came here, maybe even from their progeny, maybe even from the kids that are like, I like Earth, I like it, this is the only home I've known, and they end up like Mark. So either the Viltrumites end up like Nolan, or their progeny, their reproduction, right, ends up like Mark. And so I don't think it's as grim an ending as Mark may think it is, or as maybe even the show wants us to think it is. I think there's a positive in this. And it's rare that I look at like such an optimistic side with shows like that, because I'm all about supporting the villains. But I thought it was a great ending, and yeah, I'm excited for season 5. So what did you think about the ending, man, and what do you think the implications are for this?
I mean, the thing that I love about the ending the most, I think, is that it makes it feel like Invincible is in a place now where I am the most uncertain about where we go next than I have ever been about the show.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, after season one, Nolan flew off, and we could pretty safely assume that season two was going to be like, hey, what's going on with Nolan out in space? Mark has got to get strong enough to be able to fight his dad when he comes back. Like there were threads that we could be like, oh yeah, we know what's going to happen in season two. And then what was the end of season two? Um, I actually don't remember the end of season two that well, just because I haven't watched it in long enough. But then, like the end of season three, we saw like Conquest was not dead; they kept him alive. So there was going to be that thread to pull on for season four, and we know that like the coalition is assembling to try and go after the Viltrumites and try and end them. And we know that like Eve's powers are on the fritz, and like I feel like they did a way better job at the end of season three of showing us what was coming next than any other season on the show. But now it's like season four, we haven't gotten anything at all. Like the little pink squid things that were in the sewers are no longer a threat as
Sequids.
far as we're aware. Yeah, sequids. They're no longer a threat as far as we're aware. Hell has been taken care of. Like the singular threat is the Viltrumites. There's an alarm system in place that's supposed to tell Earth when Viltrumites enter their atmosphere, but guess what? They're already here, so you're already late. And oh no, Super Blue. Wait. Oh wait, Super Blue. I'm confused about what you're asking me about, man. You got to be more specific. You can't just throw a bunch of generic proper nouns in there or pronouns in there. Have you
Yeah,
not
let
seen Have you not seen Invincible season 4? Are we spoiling shit for you? I'm so sorry if that's the case.
yeah. I don't know.
But
I
regardless,
don't know.
the singular threat going into season 5 of Invincible is going to be the Viltrumites. That is it. That is the singular point of focus. I am really wondering if we're going to get Eve back in in the actual battle. Like if she's going to be able to like tag in and participate in actually fighting these fuckers again, because she was completely benched for season 4. Uh, we're not going to see. I'm guessing at least that we're not going to see Nolan. And here's the thing, like we well then no Conquest, as far as we know, as of season 4, Conquest is dead, but we don't know if he's going to come back or not. I'm not saying Conquest is still alive at the end of season 4. I'm saying he was still alive at the end of season 3 because he came back in season 4. And if you're telling me that I'm not spoiling anything for you, then you knew that already. So why are you all up
Yeah.
in arms about this?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a great point, Javaris. That is the one thing. John and I were actually talking about this just last night, and John pointed out that that would be the perfect short film to tide us over before season 5. Would be a short film similar to the Adam Eve short film, highlighting how Robot and Monster Girl survive and manage to get their way back to Earth from the Flaxen planet. That's. I'm glad you pointed that out, Javaris. Thank you. That's a
Yeah, it
big one.
was yeah.
It would be nice if
It,
they were able to end that threat entirely while they were there too.
yeah, for sure. For sure. I really enjoyed the season, and I'm intrigued how they're going to handle like a newly Viltrumite, kind of populated Earth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
that's
even
the
wonder
thing though
because
too is like as like can I just point out by the way Nolan is a gigantic piece of shit and that's not going to get taken back because he makes a few apologies, but he was fucking brilliant to go to what was it Thraxia where he met the new wife and made Oliver because of the way that they age so quickly and it like counteracts with the Viltrumite blood slowly becoming more dominant over time. His aging is going to slow over time. But for the first like what is Oliver even like a full year old yet and he's already like a teenager?
yeah, exactly. Hmm.
I bet you the current Viltrumites are super fucking jealous of that they can't do
Yeah,
that because they gotta wait 15, 18, 20 years for their little shits to get better to get
yeah,
to the point that they're even remotely threatening. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
I want to ask Javaris real quick because he's very active in the chat. Because here's the thing, bro, and I'm speaking for myself. I feel like Ashton's the same way, but I make it clear to Ashton like with any anime we watch, with any shows we watch, if there's like a comic or literary or manga, whatever predecessor, I do not engage with those because I like to go with the live adaptation or the anime adaptation, whatever it is, on its own terms. So I have not touched the Invincible comics. However, I have heard that like this whole Viltrumite on Earth storyline gets pretty nuts. I'm wondering, and again, this is purely speculative because I have not and I refuse to read the comics because I want to be surprised. So I'm wondering again if you do read the comics, Travaris. I'm wondering if we're gonna do like a flash forward next season of like maybe 5 years, maybe even longer than that, and see, more of the effects of the integration. How does Cecil feel about it? How is Mark going? How are him and Eve doing? How is Eve doing? Because I agree with you. I want to see her back in action. Eve is fucking awesome. She's a badass. Um, I'm really curious how they're going to transform the Earth from the inside. Because here's the thing too, Thrag also said we're not going to meddle in affairs, so I'm not expecting Thrag or anybody to be like, I'm running for Senate, I'm doing this or that. I think they're just quietly repopulating. You know what I mean? And like, how is that? Like, how are you going to resist the urge not to do a power grab when literally like conquest and more or less colonialism has been your whole brand for so fucking long, right? Like, there
yeah.
are just many fascinating facets of this to me. Um, so Javar said he's read most of them, but I also watched a video that recapped everything. Okay, cool.
That was
Um,
oh yeah, that was Javaris. I thought it was Super Blue.
oh yeah, well, Silver Blue above him was like, I watched a video of how dangerous he was, and I don't watch the show, so you're not spoiling it. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, I think that thoroughly answered that question. And then the other question from Javar simply was, also, did you know UFC hired fuck ass Gable Steveson 2 weeks ago? No, I did not. Not surprised and don't really care. It's really a shame because I was really hyped about that dude. So hyped, in fact, that Ash and I watched his gold medal win at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then when the allegations came out, I'm like, well, fuck you then. And
Who
really, it
hired
just
him?
didn't. UFC apparently.
Oh, okay. That I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah, Dana White's also a piece of shit. He can get fucked
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just fuck capitalism, fuck billionaires, fuck far right culture. I reject all of it. It makes me sick. So with that said, high spots, low shots. Oh man, interesting fucking week. I mean, obvious low shot. I'm not being cheeky here. Just all the releases, but I'm gonna put emphasis on Kairi Sane in this case. In the middle of a fucking story that I actually thought was doing stock for her WWE career, which I actually wanted to see go somewhere because NXT is still like her crowning achievement in WWE, and I wanted her to go a bit beyond that. Although you could argue that her tag title reign, her first one with Asuka Kabuki Warriors, where they broke the record, could also hang up there. But I love Kyrie. I really wanted to see her flourish as a single star. I thought, oh my God, finally a major program with Kyrie's involved, and she's the one that gets released. And when nobody should have gotten released because they should have told the story and other stories after that. So yeah, Kyrie is unfortunately the low shot just because it's a fucking gut punch. So who's your low shot?
My low shot. I mean, I hate to throw out another gut punch after you just did, but I'm gonna make it Marigold as a promotion, losing Utami.
Agreed. No, agreed. Dude, it's been such a wild fucking week. Um, Honorary high spot goes to Netanyahu's prostate cancer. Rooting for you. Proud of you. Um, Actual high spot. Let me think. Do I want to do wrestling or do I want to keep it social and political? Um, you know what? What good news did I share in politics that I was actually excited about that I could give a high spot for? Not that. Do I want to? Not that either. Oh God. Let's see. Who was this candidate? Uh, oh yeah. I'm gonna give it to. I'm probably mispronouncing this name as I do a lot. Amir Makled, who is a pro-Palestinian lawyer. He was the one that beat the APAC candidate in Michigan, Jordan Acker. And it was I think a Michigan Democratic Party race. I don't know if it's going to be for Senate or what have you. I don't know what exactly this race was because this post isn't really getting specific about that, unless I'm like going past it. But yeah, just amazing to see APAC candidates lose. Amazing to see Israel lose. Fuck Zionism. Just fuck Israeli foreign money in American politics. And so yeah, I'm gonna make that my high spot. Who's your high spot? If you or honorary high spot if you have that too. What do we got going on your side?
Um, my high spot is going to be. You know what? My mom's gonna fucking hate this, but
Oh,
it's gonna be
do it.
Fatal Influence.
Listen, listen to me right now. I know that you're in the belly of the beast because you have to deal with her directly, but I personally am proud of you for choosing chaos as often as you do.
Listen,
I
they are an NXT faction that debuted taking out 4 legends on the main roster and then got brought back out later with massive heat to immediately confront the world champion. JC took Rhea to the limit, and they only didn't end the match because Fallon interrupted it when Rhea was about to win the damn thing. Like, from a strictly kayfabe perspective, I don't think anyone had a better week this week than Fatal Influence.
I am so proud of you.
Honorary
Standing
high
with your
spot goes to
convictions.
Jacob Fatu, though. He had a fire week as well.
Dude, absolutely. And about fucking time too.
If
And I'm
his
glad that
win
dude.
over Drew would have been on Sunday instead of Saturday, he would have been my actual high spot. But unfortunately, the week kind of divided WrestleMania.
Yeah, it just proved utterly fatal to all other prospects, I suppose. Um
Shouldn't have been so influential.
I love us. So with that said, leave a like as you follow out, everybody. This has been the weekly recap. This has been TWitWoW, the best podcast on the internet today. Again, leave a like as you follow out. Subscribe with the bell notification so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description
Oh,
box.
wait.
Uh,
I have to interrupt your outro because Javaris just reminded me that Oba Brock was on Sunday and Oba effectively retired Brock. So I am going to just pivot to, yeah, Oba is the more obvious high spot. You're right. Thank you, Javaris, for that reminder. I actually totally blanked on not only the fact that Oba Brock was on Sunday, even though I mentioned that earlier in the show, but also that Brock retired after that match. So Oba retired Brock, as far as we're aware. So like that's kind of insane. And then Oba also opened Raw, if I remember correctly, to massive applause, and said, I forget the line. He said something about the ruler is here to stay or something. I don't fucking know. Listen,
wow,
do not
he
get on my
remembered.
shit. I have ADHD. I forget things easily.
Yes. Oh my God, this is really evolving into something beyond all this. But yeah, listen. If you're gonna troll rationally and then pivot, the only worthwhile pivot is to God,
Yeah.
and that's what you did. So mad respect. All right. May I resume my outro, good sir?
Please do.
You guys already know what we're about. I'm not doing it all over again. So I'm gonna say tentatively Tuesday at probably 5 would be best, right? Or do you think? Because there's no way we'd get away with 6 for 7 matches, could we? Or no? Like, what do you want to do for Tuesday if we do go live Tuesday for Stardom? Because it's 7 matches is what I'm asking. What time should we go live?
6. Definitely 6.
Okay, you think we can get away with it? Fair enough. All right, yeah, 7 matches. It's going to be a big Stardom card. Then Monte Gold Wednesday, and then maybe more Stardom Thursday potentially. Because I know last time I checked, they did have the 23rd show up. So we'll have to see if there's a card cobbled together there. But if you're like, man, I just don't feel Joshi wrestling. I mean, I personally disagree, but to each their own. You can still catch us Saturday at 10:30 for another weekly recap. So yes, we will see you guys then. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.